everybody. How you doing? Good to see everyone. Holy shit snacks, y'all. We have a lot to go over. Today was a day. Holy moly. All right. So, if you guys missed this morning's testimony, you're probably lucky that you missed it because, quite frankly, your girl here had some self-control issues and hollered out some stuff, some commentary due to aggravation, annoyance, and frankly, I have a low tolerance for bullshit, and I had reached my limit about 27 minutes into testimony this morning. Okay. And I also think it's interesting that kind of what I said was probably going to happen ended up happening. That there was like a couple hours left of the day and they started it on the cross examination. Your girl called it. So let me say hi to you guys. Hi, Carla. Hi, Aussie girl Jen. Good to see you guys. Paula, good to see you. Karen, Molson Man. Hey, you cool cats and kittens. Cement Shoes. Shalima, Sarah. I don't want to miss anybody. Recliner Detective, I haven't seen you in a long day. How y'all doing? I don't think I missed anybody. I don't think so. I think I got everybody. Amelia Sparkles, Roadie Gal. Hello, hello. So good to see you. Hey, Seth. Good to see you guys. All right. Okay. So, one of the things that I wanted to go over today, real quick, before we get started into the, I don't even know the words, into this testimony, is Paula Walking asked me the other day about perjury. And I was explaining it or whatever. Well, there is a part today that during the testimony, it's during the cross that I want to talk to you guys about because it is an excellent potential example of perjury. But let me just go ahead and get everything all the way set up. So we're going to watch from after lunch because, y'all, I love you more than my luggage, but I can't do this morning's testimony twice. I'm so sorry. I just cannot. I can't. It I just can't do it. Basically, I'll give it to you in a nutshell if you missed any of it. Amber talked a lot about the domestic violence that she suffered, and quite frankly, I'm just going to sum it all up to you guys. The stories that she told didn't make sense. She's always in these weird positions on the floor, on the couch, walking out of doors, getting slapped, turning around, all the things. But the last incident, the one that was in May of 2016, the one that prompted her to file for the temporary restraining order, okay, so it wasn't her who called 911. It was her friend Io. Okay, he called 911, and but before I forget, remember this morning we were talking about her friend Rocky, and I thought that Rocky had passed away. No, Rocky is very much alive and well. They are just not friends anymore, and nobody is talking about the why. So I can't even begin to tell the whys. I just know that they are not friends anymore, but she is very much alive. Rocky Pennington, I just wanted to clear that up because I really wasn't super sure about all of that, and I didn't want to let that one go. But anyway, so on May, I guess it's the 21st, um, sh Io is the one that called 911 and got the cops to come out there. And in between the cops arriving, Amber and Rocky were taking pictures of Amber's injuries, her alleged injuries, right? And they were also, documenting not her the penthouse that she and Johnny lived in, and then also, the other penthouses, and alleging that there was, like, damage. Okay. So, um, in between all that, Amber calls her entertainment lawyer, and the entertainment lawyer refers her to somebody that is familiar with, I cannot remember the term that she called this lawyer that she used. I wanna say domestic lawyer, but, hang on just a second. Um, anyway, so the second lawyer that she was referred to, um, said, "No, no, um, don't tell the, don't tell the cops anything. Just simply say under the advice of your attorney, you don't wanna talk about it." So she said, "Okay," and she didn't. So that's what happened with that, which frankly doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense to me because, hang on just a second. I'm trying to find the part that I'm looking for. All right, this isn't it. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me because what I don't understand is why would this attorney advise you not to cooperate with the police? Okay. And then on top of it, why would they, but then advise you to document your injuries and the, um, penthouse. That makes no sense, right? Like if they're telling okay, it's not she didn't testify, let me be clear. She did not testify that the attorney told her to document her injuries or the penthouse, right? But she did. Her and Rocky did. And what I don't understand is if you had no intention of um cooperating with the cops, in their investigation, then why would you be documenting any of those things? It just did not make any sense to me. Um, none. So, yeah, there was that. So, rather than I do kind of want to go over a little bit of what she said this afternoon, but not really. I mainly want to get to the good stuff, which is the cross exam, which took 5 ever to get to and to get through. There were a lot of sidebars, a lot of things, hold on a minute, because I want to get it right at the beginning. Okay, let me pause it right there. Anyway, so the whole situation that she's talking about, the way that everything played out in the it's the way that she says it played out doesn't make sense because again, I go back to if you're not going to have him prosecuted, not only are you not going to attempt to have him prosecuted, you're not even going to be cooperative in any way, shape, or form, right? So what is the point of taking the pictures? That's the part I couldn't get to. I could not understand. Now, what I'm hoping, hey, outside the box with Chloe Joe, what I'm hoping is that um, I doubt Rocky is going to testify for her. But what I am hoping is that Io does. And Paula got us the link to the 911. So, let me go ahead and let's start with that. I think that's a better thing to start with. Um, Let me click off of this so I can just share it when I get to it. So yeah, let's listen to the 911 call, because that's the part that's not making sense to me, because there was a lot of like, why did they not do anything for Amber, the cops? You know, what are the laws? What is the protocol? And, we were talking about that. And frankly, the protocol is there's a difference between a domestic disturbance and domestic violence. Okay. Violence always implies injury of some sort, either to one or both people, right? Okay. Disturbance is more like screaming, yelling, throwing things, but nobody's injured. Okay. Um, so there's different protocols. So a domestic violence situation in California, somebody is going to be arrested right there. Then when you have a domestic disturbance, I think what they probably do would be to separate the two parties and file the report and then let it, leave it to the prosecutor. But that's not what happened in this situation, because Johnny Depp was long gone. And so that's what is, I don't understand why call 911 to begin with. Like, none of this makes sense. So I want to hear this 911 call with you guys, because I want to know what it was that was said, because otherwise it makes no sense to me. I mean, none of this makes sense anyway, but so yeah. Now, this is a 23-minute video. I don't know how long the 911 call is, because I see a lot of, so we'll just, I'll go ahead and just share it, and then we'll see what we need to skip through and whatnot. All right. So let's start with the 911 call. Okie dokie. Okie dokie. Oh, we're going to get to that outside the box with Chloe Joe. No, I don't. I do not believe for one hot second that, okay, Paula, thank you, babe. I don't believe for one hot second that a broken nose can be covered with ice and makeup. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. All right, so let me add this to the stream and cripes, play it. We only have to listen to the first 5 minutes. So let's go.
Two celebrities are suing each other for defamation. And now we have the true 911 call from the case. At 8:27 p.m. on May 21st, 2016, an anonymous woman called 911 to report a domestic violence incident at Johnny Depp's penthouse.
911 emergency operator 278. Hi, I need to report an assault right now happening at 849 Broadway at the Eastern Building in Penthouse 3. Okay, are you there right now, ma'am? No, I'm downstairs. Okay, and I'm sorry, you said 840, was it North or South Broadway? 47 seconds. I don't know, it's Eastern Building, downtown LA. 7 seconds. It's coming up in different areas, we have to be sure. 20, somebody was being physically assaulted? Yeah. 7 seconds. Who? A woman. Who was hurting her? A man. Is that her boyfriend? A man. That's all I know. 17 seconds. Did you witness it? No, I happen to know that it's happening, Saturday, and I just need to remain anonymous. Okay, you can remain anonymous then, but I have to be certain what's going on. How do you know this is going on, though? She told me. Oh, okay, so this is a friend of yours? Yes. Okay, so what did she say, that this guy was assaulted her or hit her? Physically assaulting her, yes. Okay, but this isn't a boyfriend or anything like that? Yes, it could be, yes. Okay, is it her boyfriend, yes or no? Seconds. Yes. Okay, all right, hold on. Are you between 8th and 9th Street in downtown? Okay, exactly. Okay, and I'm sorry, what was the suite number? Penthouse 3. Penthouse 3, okay. And you want us to be anonymous, right? Yes. And 07 seconds. And your friend, did she relay this information to you via text, or were you talking to her? 9 and 17 seconds. What's her name? May 20. Her name, Amber. 2016. That's all I can tell you. I have to go. Okay, well, if that's all we have, and we can't talk to her there's not much we can do. We'll send send somebody up, please. I'm going to send someone up, ma'am. But, you know, if we get up there and she denies it or want to talk to us, okay, just so you know, okay? So we're coming out to 840 Broadway, Penthouse 3, okay? 849.
After 4 years since the call was made, it has come to light during a lengthy legal battle between the
All right.
The case started after 33-year-old Amber Heard wrote a
All right. So there's the 911 call. Now, I have a couple of problems with this because I don't actually think that's the protocol. I very distinctly remember that after the O.J. Simpson trial, many states, including California, obviously, because duh and or hello, that's where it took place, changed the way that they handle domestic calls, and that somebody is going to be removed. So the only thing that I can think of is, no, babe, that is not Amber on the call. That's not her voice. I think it's Rocky Pennington. Yeah, so the truth of the matter is there are things about this that don't make good sense. I don't want to go so far as to say that Johnny Depp got preferential treatment, because I don't want to say that, because I don't know that to be the truth. Number one, and number two, what I don't understand is how come there's so much time elapsed, right? That they had that Johnny had to have left at this point. Amber had to have called her friend Rocky. Rocky is the one that called the 911, right? But at this point, there's so much time has elapsed that Amber and Rocky, that can't be Rocky, because wait a minute, let me think about this, because Rocky is the one who took the pictures. Unless Rocky was there and left. Do you know what I mean? Because she did say that Rocky showed up and that Rocky put herself in between Heard and Depp, put her hands out, her arms out, palms towards Johnny Depp, and said to stop. And something about it reminded Amber Heard of horse training or whatever. But the bottom line is, there's some things about this is it IO? Okay. That don't make sense. Wait. The police cannot make someone leave unless it's arrest or by restraining order, but he wasn't there. That's the thing. He was gone. What I don't understand is why the state did not pick up the charges. That's what I don't understand. Why there wasn't more done. And the only thing that I could come up with is that the officers are telling the God's honest truth when they say that they didn't see any injuries on Amber. That's what I thought. Okay, that's what I was trying to get at. Okay, so we're on the same page. That the reason that nothing was done is because they are telling the truth. Because I feel like they wouldn't want to risk their job. You know what I mean? If they showed up and she's, got all those marks up, like she says she does, right? And they just bounce, that's going to come up at some point, or at least there's a chance it could have, right? Okay. Well, Shmita, she did know by who. She just didn't want to tell. And I want to make sure that I use the proper, hey, Savannah, pronouns here. And I believe Io is, the proper pronoun for Io is he. I just want to make sure. That's what I'm thinking, anaphylaxis, because, things have changed, the way we look at it, the training that officers get with respect to domestic violence, that, victims are often too scared to report or to have the person arrested because they worry that they'll make bail and then it'll just start all over again, or it'll end up being worse. So, okay, so we're all on the same page. Well, the thing is that I'm not suggesting that they make Amber Heard leave, right? She's alone in the penthouse, all right? And they are married. And so technically she's allowed to be there. I mean, she's got an established residence there, right? She gets her mail there, she sleeps there, she eats her meals there. I believe that's all that's required for squatters' rights. I don't know what California does, but whatever. The bottom line is I wasn't suggesting they make anybody leave. I was curious as to why there was not more follow-up done. And I'm leaning more towards the fact that the officers are absolutely telling the truth and there were no visible injuries. Oh, thank you, Seth. Take it easy. Thanks for stopping by. Okay, now that we have that out of the way, now let's get to my girl, Camille. Are y'all ready? All right. Oh, we're not going to be ready if I don't add it to the stream. Ha ha. All right. Okay. I'm going to put it on 1.25 because there's a lot of sidebar in the beginning and I'm scared that if I do too much skipping around, I'm going to miss it. Hold on. Let me see if I can do it. Yeah. All right. We'll just leave it like that and we'll keep talking. Oh, Jen, you got to push play. Ding dong. There we go. All right. So there is a few parts that I want you guys to pay like close attention to, but I'm going to stop it so that we can point that out. Because I'm very curious about what's happening. And I would also like to say, while I see the discussion about the rings, because that's an excellent point, a point that Allie 79 and I made when we were looking at pictures of Johnny Depp. And we were curious if he hit her. Because now remember, the May 21st incident is a phone. I don't think that she's alleging that he actually hit her. What she says is that basically he was grabbing her face, right? But he didn't. I don't think she testified that he actually physically used his hands on her that day. But all of the other incidences, she reported that he did. And not only did she report that he hit her in the face, not only did he hit her in the face, he hit her in the face repeatedly, multiple times. And so, okay, I'm over it now. I'm going for it, you guys. Still at a sidebar.
Justified, you felt like
Eyeballs.
let's look.
All right, here we go.
All right, thank you. All right, be seated. Cross-examination.
Good afternoon, Ms. Heard.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Depp hasn't looked at you once this entire trial, has he?
Straight out the gate.
Not that I've noticed, no.
You've looked at him, though, many times, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
You know exactly why Mr. Depp
Oh,
looked back at
wait.
you, don't you?
I want to tell you guys
I
something
do.
before I forget. Okay, so when I was watching this afternoon, yes, I cheated. I'm sorry. Please don't be upset with me. I had a thought. I know, I'm sure you guys have seen it because it's all over the tubes, right? all of the videos of Camille and Johnny Depp together, right? The touching and the, that kind of stuff, right? There's a lot of speculation going on. Are they an item? Okay, so this was my thought. Especially after she came directly out of the gate with this question. What if Johnny Depp and Camille are doing that for the benefit of Miss Heard? Meaning, they're completely and totally aware that she is watching him and her and how jealous she is. And perhaps while they have a good friendship, there is nothing romantic involved. But I'm curious if they are intentionally doing that as a distraction to Amber. Just curious. Hey, Heather, whatever. That is what I thought. And I'm not going to even say it's a wrong thing to do. I mean, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? All right. Ready? That's all. I just wanted to tell you guys that thought before I forgot, because I would definitely forget it. Okay, here we go.
He promised you you would never see his eyes again. Isn't that true?
I don't recall if he said that.
One of the last times you ever saw Mr. Depp was when you met him in San Francisco in July of 2016, right?
That was the second to last time I saw him, yes.
And this was after you had publicly accused him of domestic violence.
I got my restraining order before that, yes.
And this is after you had obtained the domestic violence restraining order against him.
That's correct.
Let's please play Plaintiff's Exhibit 1229. For the record, it's at 1101 through 1209. I'm going to ask that.
Which also, while they're talking about this exhibit and what timestamp and what all they're going to play, it would make sense that after all of those things, right, that that Amber could see, especially while she was testifying, because I really didn't notice it up until I mean, I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. But the bottom line is, I did also say that I thought that she would be the one that would question Amber. And the reason I think that is because if it had been a man, then Amber would be able to pull her shrinking violet routine, right? And it would appear that a man was browbeating her, as it were, right? But Camille doing it, they're on even ground. It's a level playing field. And on top of it, that if Amber is aware, which of course she is, because she's been looking at Johnny this whole time, she has a whole rotation. First she looks at the judge, then she looks at Johnny, then she looks at the jury, then back to Johnny, like that, right? Repeat. So of course she's seen it. And at any rate, that would make even more sense for Camille to be the one then to question her. All right, here we go. I promise I'm going to be quiet for a while now. Okay, here we go.
It be admitted into evidence?
Any objection to 1229?
Yes.
All right, 1229. You want to enter it in its entirety?
Yes, please.
Okay, 1229 entered in its entirety. Go ahead and play your section.
No. Oh no, I'm not gonna save it all. All this, everything you
I just wanted to touch you.
really, after all the shit you just said?
I just wanted to give
After
you
all
a
this
hug.
shit you fucking
Yes,
accused me of?
yes,
Don't
please,
touch me.
please stop me.
Fucking-
Please stop.
fucking nuts.
Please, I just wanted to hug you and say bye. I didn't want to say anything back.
We did that last night. It's fine. That was good enough. No, because I'm nothing to you. And I will always be nothing to you.
Calm.
What, you're on a mission?
Your hands are hard. Please just hold
No. No, you're doing fucking all. No, we'll never see each other again. You won't even don't take my fucking glasses off. You don't like fucking looking at not my fucking eyes? You will not see my eyes again.
That's you and Mr. Depp in that recording.
That is.
And this is from when you and Mr. Depp met in San Francisco in July of 2016, right?
Yes, that's what it sounds like. That was in the hotel. We met once after that as well.
This is after you publicly accused him of domestic abuse.
Yes, and got my TRO.
And he tells you will not see my eyes again, doesn't he?
Yes, he does in that recording.
And he kept that promise, hasn't he?
As far as I know, he cannot look at me.
He won't look at you, right, Miss Heard?
He can't.
And this is
One
how
of the
it
first questions your
starts.
counsel asked you on direct is, why are you here? Do you remember that?
I do.
Let's please play Plaintiff Exhibit 357A, which is already in evidence, Your Honor. And for the record, it's 2122 through 2140.
Also, I just have to say, I like the way Camille does the timestamps.
See what the jury and judge think. Tell the world, Johnny. Tell them, Johnny, that my dad, man, I'm a victim too of domestic violence, and
Yes.
I know it's a fair fight. And see how many people believe or side with you.
That's your voice on that recording, right?
Yes, it is.
And you were speaking with Mr. Depp.
Yes.
And you said to Mr. Depp, quote, you can please tell people that it was a fair fight and see what the jury and the judge think. Tell the world, Johnny. Tell them, Johnny Depp, Johnny Depp, a man, a victim too of domestic violence, end quote. That's what you said, right?
I was saying it to the man who beat me up, yes. I thought it was preposterous.
And the
I
man
think
you
you're
beat up
preposterous.
numerous times. Right, Ms. Heard?
I could never hurt Johnny.
You're here in this courtroom because Mr. Depp finally told the world that he's a victim of domestic violence.
I know that he is suing me and has sued other people or corporations that have said that as well.
You didn't think he would tell the world he was a victim of domestic violence, did you?
I found it hard to believe that he could or that he would do that, considering the relationship he and I had. I thought it would be crazy for him to do so, knowing what I know we lived through.
Or, as you said to him in that recording, who was going to believe that Johnny Depp, a man, is a victim of domestic violence, right?
With all due respect, I wasn't saying it because he's a man. I was saying it because he was a man who beat me up for 5 years.
Mr. Depp is your victim, isn't he?
No, ma'am.
And once he left you, you continued to abuse him publicly by calling him an abuser, didn't you?
He is an abuser, and you can look either of us up online and figure out who's being abused online.
Let's look at some of that.
Well, you're
Mr.
not
Depp wears
there
rings on
for
every finger,
online
doesn't he, Ms.
abuse,
Heard?
are you?
That's my experience, yes.
And they're not delicate rings, are they?
No, they are not.
Every one of his fingers is adorned, your words, big, chunky rings. Isn't that right?
That's my experience of him.
And Mr. Depp is always wearing rings, right, Ms. Heard?
That's my experience of him.
And you've never known him not to wear these rings.
That's my experience, is he normally wore rings, yes.
So Mr. Depp was wearing these big, chunky rings on every finger, every incident of abuse you've described to this jury, right?
I can't say for certain it was in every single incident.
But you've never known him not to wear rings, right?
In general, my experience with Johnny is that he wears rings almost all the time.
Ms. Heard, do you recall giving testimony in a deposition in this matter in January of this year?
I do.
Can we please play
I think Kim Jong-un
from your
also has
deposition,
that
day
jacket.
2,
Just saying.
512, page 512, lines 11 through 15?
You said he hit you and he
It is Dr. Evil's outfit too.
Right, Ms. Heard? So he hit
So
you
many.
with rings on every finger?
I don't know if I've ever known Johnny to not wear rings.
Yeah.
Ms. Heard, you testified to an incident in March of 2013 where Mr. Depp hit you in the face multiple times. Do you recall that?
That's correct.
And you testified, quote, you don't know how many times he hit you in the face.
That's correct.
So Mr. Depp hit you in the face multiple times while he was wearing rings on this occasion, correct?
Which occasion in March are you referencing? You weren't
The
specific.
testimony that you gave on day 15 of this trial, March of 2013. You weren't specific as to the day.
There were several incidents.
The one where he hit you several times in the face.
I'm sorry, just so I understand better. There were several incidents in March. Which one are you asking me about?
The time that he hit you several times in the face wearing rings.
Well, he pretty much
March of
always.
2013.
Right. What are you asking me? I'm sorry.
He was wearing
Bruh.
rings on that occasion.
I pretty much always knew him to wear rings.
Okay, let's please pull up Defendants Exhibit 170A, which is already in evidence, Your Honor. You testified this is a picture you took after that incident, right, Ms. Heard?
Yes, that was one where he grabbed me.
And hit you in the face so many times that you don't remember. Isn't that correct?
That's correct.
And there's no injuries to your face in this picture, are there?
Not that this picture shows.
And there's no medical records reflecting that you sought treatment after this alleged incident either.
I did not seek medical treatment at this time.
So there's no medical records reflecting any injuries to your face after he hit you several times,
I did not need to
Girl,
go to
what
the
are
doctor.
you
at the
even
time.
wearing in that
despite
picture?
hitting
Fix
you
your
several
bra
times that you
strap,
lost
bra
count
strap.
with rings on his fingers.
That's correct. I did not seek medical attention, other than my therapist.
You testified to another incident in March of 2013 where Mr. Depp hit you while he was wearing a lot of rings. Do you remember that testimony?
Yeah.
ma'am.
Elaborate,
And you testified you
Savannah.
felt like your
I
lip
missed
went through your
that.
teeth and it got a little blood on the wall.
Yes, I remember that.
There isn't a picture of you with injuries after that alleged incident, is there?
I don't know if I've seen one. I can't recall. There are a lot of pictures.
You didn't produce any photographs after that alleged incident, did you, Mr.
I don't
Depp?
know if I took one or if it's included. I'm not quite sure which ones.
You didn't show any pictures to the jury after describing that alleged incident that your lip went into your teeth. You don't remember that, right? You didn't show any pictures to the jury after describing that incident, right?
I don't believe I've seen that picture admitted.
That picture doesn't exist.
I don't know which one you're talking about. We have pictures from March 2013. Yes.
The only picture that you've
Ooh, I'm
produced
gonna
and
have to
shown
go
the
look
jury
for
is the
those,
one that was
Savannah.
just put up on the screen, where you said he hit you multiple times in the face and you appear to have what is a bruise on your arm, correct?
I believe this is the only picture that's in evidence right now.
That's the only picture you've shown to the jury from March 2013, correct?
I believe so.
You testified about an incident in Russia on or about June 26, 2013. Do you remember that?
Yes, that's correct.
You testified that Mr. Depp, quote, whacked you in the face.
That's correct.
And you went to the bathroom after that, right?
I did.
And then, according to your testimony, when you came out of the bathroom, Jerry Judge, Mr. Depp's security guard, who's passed away, pointed out that your nose was bleeding, right?
He did that in the hallway.
And you said you hadn't known that your nose was bleeding until Jerry Judge pointed it out to you?
Yes, that's correct. I was unaware until he brought it up to me. I didn't see it when I was in the bathroom, but I wasn't looking.
So it's your testimony that you went into the bathroom and didn't look in the mirror, which I assume was in the bathroom, to notice that your nose was bleeding?
That's not why I went into the bathroom. I went into the bathroom crying. I don't even know if I paid attention to the mirror. I certainly didn't enough to notice any blood.
And you didn't take any pictures of your bloody nose either, did you?
I did not.
What?
But pictures were taken of you in Russia, though. Isn't that correct?
Yes, that's correct. We had a press or a dinner.
Let's please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 1248. Ms. Heard, this is a picture of you and Mr. Depp in Russia, correct?
That's correct.
I'm going to move to admit.
All right, no objection. 1248 in evidence. You can publish.
And this is you and Mr. Depp in Russia for the Lone Ranger premiere, correct?
It was a dinner function, I believe, in promotion of the movie. It wasn't the premiere, if I recall.
You don't have any visible injuries to your face, do you?
None that you can see.
Let's look at Plaintiff's Exhibit 1249. This is a picture of you, isn't it right?
That's correct.
I'm going to move to admit, Exhibit 1249.
All right, 1249 in evidence.
This is also a picture from when you were in Russia for the Lone Ranger premiere, right?
That is correct.
And you have no visible injuries to your face, do you?
None that you can see.
Her makeup looks good.
Even though Mr. Depp whacked you in the face so hard that your nose bled
He did.
while wearing chunky big rings, right?
That's correct.
Girl, you in trouble. Hang it up, sis.
You also testify that Mr. Depp, again, whacked you in the face after the Met Gala in May of 2014, right?
That is correct.
You testify that you thought he hit you so hard he broke your nose.
That's correct.
You said your nose was, quote, swollen, discolored, red.
That is correct. I took a picture of that.
You testified you took a picture of your face after this.
I did.
But you didn't show that picture to the jury, did you?
I would like to.
But you didn't show it, did you?
That's not up to me.
You understand you were under an obligation to produce all photographs after any alleged incidents of violence, right, Ms. Heard?
I produced everything.
You didn't produce any photographs after the Met Gala.
I produced everything.
You also understand that you're under an obligation to produce all medical records reflecting any injuries you allegedly sustained from Mr. Depp, correct?
That's correct.
And you haven't produced any pictures or any medical records reflecting a broken nose after the Met Gala in May of 2014, have you?
I have given everything to my lawyers. Everything. I've turned over literally everything that I have.
Is it your testimony, Ms. Heard, that you saw medical treatment after Mr. Depp allegedly broke your nose after the Met Gala?
Not after the Met Gala. I did not seek medical attention, no.
You also attended an event after the Met Gala in May of 2014, didn't you?
That is correct.
And you went to the all-star comedy tribute to Don Rickles.
That is correct.
That was the next night after the Met Gala.
That is correct.
And there were pictures of you taken at this event.
Yes.
Completely
Please pull up
throwing
Plaintiff's Exhibit 1252.
See, incapable of
This is a picture
taking
of you, Ms. Heard.
responsibility for
Yes, it
anything.
is.
At that event,
Yes, it is.
the night after the Met Gala,
Yes, it is.
the night after Mr. Depp allegedly broke your nose.
I'm not sure if it was broken, for the record, but yeah, you should see what it looked like underneath the makeup.
We'd love to. Where's
He
those
whacked you so hard in the
pictures?
face that you thought you had broken your nose.
Exactly.
Permission to admit this photograph.
All right, 1252 in evidence.
No, cement shoes. You're not the only one.
This is a picture of you, Mr. Depp, and Don Rickles, right?
That is correct.
Let's please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 1253. This is another picture from that evening, right, Ms. Heard?
Yes, it is.
Permission
Correct,
to
Savannah.
admit Exhibit 1253 and publish it.
All right, so moved. 1253 in evidence.
This is a picture of you and Mr. Depp at the event the night after Mr. Depp allegedly whacked you in the face so hard you thought he had broken your nose.
He did whack me in the face, and I did think it broke my nose.
And this is you the night after.
Yes, it is.
Let's please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 1254. This is also a picture
Did we
of you
miss
at the same
Cement
event,
Shoes'
correct, Ms. Heard?
birthday?
That is correct.
Move to admit Plaintiff's Exhibit
Oh,
1254.
happy late
All right,
birthday,
1254 in
Cement
evidence.
Shoes. I'm sorry.
Just to confirm now that the jury can see it, this is a picture of you at the same event the night after Mr. Depp allegedly whacked you in the face so hard you thought he broke your nose.
It's a pretty dress.
This is a picture of me after he did whack me in the face.
The night after, right?
Yes, it is. I believe it was the night after, yes.
No signs of
Your
swelling
nose doesn't
at
appear to be
all.
injured in any of these pictures, does it, Ms. Heard?
I'm wearing makeup.
Your nose doesn't appear to be injured in any of these pictures, does it, Ms. Heard?
That's why I'm wearing makeup.
And makeup covers up swelling, right?
Makeup will not cover up swelling. Ice will, though.
Ice will cover up swelling?
Ice reduces swelling. Normally, the swelling after that kind of injury is not as bad as you might imagine. And for me, it wasn't that bad. I have a picture of it underneath the makeup. That's how I know how to reference it.
Oh,
A
where's the
you haven't
picture?
produced or shown to
did.
this jury, right, Ms. Heard?
I produced everything.
But you haven't shown it to this jury.
I would very much like to. It's not my job.
Oh, it's not your job. It is your.
Madam,
It's
may we
your
approach?
case. It's not as bad as you might imagine. Listen, girl, we have all seen somebody who's had rhinoplasty, and guess what they do when they have the nose job? 2 black eyes every single time. Nonstop Mom coming in with the spice. We're going to talk about that, Nonstop Mom, but don't give it away. Because this is my thing. I don't think that she is, how do I put this? I don't want to say she's throwing them under the bus because I don't actually think that's what her intention is. I actually think that Amber cannot admit that those pictures do not exist because you guys know darn right well if a picture existed of her with all the bruises and a really bad potentially broken nose, right? That those would have been produced. So rather than say the photo doesn't exist, right? What she's doing is saying, well, it does exist and it's not my job to show them. I turned everything over to my attorneys. So if they didn't show it, it's not because it doesn't exist. It's not her intention isn't to actually throw them under the bus. I don't believe. I actually think it is her way of saying it's not my fault. And she cannot say that the picture does not exist. She can't, you know what I mean? She cannot be honest about it. So rather than be honest, right, then she's got to be like, well, if it does exist, if you haven't seen it, it's not because of anything that I've done. I don't actually think that they exist, because everything that her lawyers have, his lawyers have. So if she gave them to her lawyers, then Johnny Depp's lawyers have access to them as well, and they're not showing them either. And why do you think that is? Because they're not in there. So that's why they're getting her to they want her to admit that there is that, like from Mean Girls, right? The limit does not exist. Bitch, these photographs do not exist. Okay, the sidebarring is redonk. They do this for so freaking long, and this part right here, and it drives me absolutely nuts. Why is it not letting me?
End quote.
Oh,
Backless dress.
see? Ah!
Backless dress, though.
Oh my God.
Backless dress, though. Did you?
You guys are just gonna have to suffer through it. I'll just speed it up 2 times and then. Okay, good. Fine. Good. Hey, Jody is cool. Good to see ya. Welcome back.
Ms. Heard, you testified that in January of 2015, there was an incident in Tokyo before Mr. Depp's film Mordecai's premiere. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And you told this jury
Class,
that
I'm
on this
going to
occasion,
go outside for
Mr. Depp
just
was
a
kneeling on
moment.
your
I'm
back.
leaving Molson Man
That's
and
correct, in the closet.
Frida in
And you also told
charge.
this jury that you wore a backless dress to the Mordecai premiere that very same night.
I did.
Y'all
And you
behave.
testified that you were checking for bruises in the car on the way to the event to make sure that there were, quote, no visible marks, right?
I was checking on my phone after the event to make sure that they couldn't see anything.
What?
Your testimony was that you were checking in the car on the way to the event to make sure that there were no marks on your back.
Perhaps I misspoke or I misunderstood. It was on the way back from it was after I was concerned. Concerned that there would be marks in any photographs since we were being photographed at Johnny's press event.
And you didn't show this jury a picture of you in that backless dress, though, did you?
I don't know what you mean. I'm sorry.
You didn't show this jury a picture of you at the Mordecai premiere wearing a backless dress, did you?
I haven't had the opportunity to.
Okay.
I assume you have it?
I do. Let's please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 1256. This is a picture of you and Mr. Depp, or the back of you, at the Mordecai premiere in Tokyo, correct, Ms. Heard?
That is correct.
Your Honor, I move to admit and publish this picture.
All right, 1256 in evidence.
This is you in the backless dress at the Mordecai premiere in Tokyo, right?
That is correct.
You would agree that there are no bruises or visible marks on your back in this picture.
No, not that I could see.
I'll show you one other photo. If we could please have Plaintiff's Exhibit 1257. This is a front angle picture of you and Mr. Depp at that premiere, correct?
That is correct.
Move to admit Plaintiff's Exhibit 1257.
All right, 1257 in evidence.
I'll show you one more picture. Plaintiff's Exhibit 1258. And again, Ms. Heard, this is you and Mr. Depp at the Mordecai premiere.
Yes, it is.
Move to admit Plaintiff's Exhibit 1258.
All right, 1258 in evidence. Publish.
And that's the backless dress, right, Ms. Heard?
That is correct.
You also told this jury about an incident in Australia in March of 2015.
Yes, that's correct.
You testified that after this alleged incident, you had cuts on your forearms, right?
Yes, that's true.
And you testified that you had cuts on the bottoms of your feet as well.
Yes, that's true.
And you testified that you had a bruise across your jaw from when Mr. Depp, quote, clocked you in the face, end quote.
That's true.
You didn't take any pictures of these injuries while you were in Australia, did you?
I don't think I took any pictures.
You just took 2 pictures of Mr. Depp's writing on a mirror. Isn't that right?
I believe so, yes.
So you had your phone on you, right?
At some point I did have my phone.
And your iPad?
I had my iPad, I believe.
And you testified that you were also raped with a liquor bottle in Australia, right, Ms. Heard?
Yes.
You testified you bled from your vagina as a result of that sexual assault.
Yes.
There aren't any medical records reflecting that you sought medical treatment for any of these injuries, are there?
I did not seek medical treatment after Australia, no.
Not for the rape?
No, I did not want to tell anyone.
Not for the cuts?
No,
Not for the injuries to your face?
I didn't need to.
You also told the jury about an incident on December 15th, 2015, right?
Where? I'm sorry.
December 15th, 2015.
Yes, that's correct.
You told this jury that after this incident, you had a broken nose.
It certainly felt like it.
Sir, do you recall giving testimony on day 16th in this trial? You
Yes,
weren't
I
out,
do.
right?
Yes.
You can have a transcript for the jury.
Okay, all right, we'll get it. I will do. Thank you, Judy.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
All right, yes, ma'am.
And would you like a copy?
Yes, please.
If I could please direct your attention, Ms. Hurd, to page of day 16, 4593, of the jury trials transcript. Lines 8 through 13,
On which page? I'm sorry.
4593.
Yes.
Starting on line 8. I thought I probably had a concussion and certainly thought, excuse me, start that, let's start over. I thought I probably had a concussion and certainly that I had a broken nose. There was blood everywhere, blood all over the pillows. My head was bleeding from the ripped out hair, chunks of hair on the floor, all over the place actually. So lines 9, that I had a broken nose. Do you recall giving that testimony, Ms. Hurd?
Yes, exactly.
So you had a broken nose, right?
That's absolutely what I thought.
You had 2 black eyes after this incident, right?
I did have 2 black eyes after that incident.
And you testified that you also had a busted lip from when Mr. Depp punched you.
That is correct. From December, yes, that's correct.
You testified that the lip wound kept reopening when you moved your mouth.
That's correct.
You also testified that you had bruising on your temple
That's correct.
and bruising on your chin.
Correct.
You also testified that your head was bleeding from where Mr. Depp ripped chunks of your hair out.
I remember, yes.
And that you had, quote, gross, pussy, and, quote, bruising around your temple.
In my scalp, yeah.
Now, for this incident, you did take pictures.
That's correct.
And we will look at some of those in a minute. But I first want to talk to you about your appearance on the James Corden show.
Sure. Can I close this?
Sure. You appeared on the James Corden show the day after this alleged incident, right?
I did.
And that was December 16th, 2015?
Yes, that's correct.
Let's please pull up a clip of your appearance from that evening. If we could, Plaintiff's Exhibit 35. And for the record, we will only be playing a portion of this, so we will call it Plaintiff's Exhibit 35A.
All right, any objection? 35A in evidence.
I grew up, in Texas riding horses and,
Oh, really?
if
Not a big ballet community out there in Texas.
That was you on the James Corden show on December 16th, 2015, right? Michelle?
Yes.
That was.
Yes, Molson Man, she is.
Please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 98. These are pictures of you on the James Corden show on December 16th, 2015, right, Ms. Hurd?
They look like freeze frames, like screen grabs. stills. They're not like it's not like a photo shoot. It doesn't seem.
But on the James Corden show, correct?
From that appearance, yes.
Move to admit and publish Plaintiff's Exhibit 98.
Any objection? All right, Ms. Berto, you could move the microphone and turn it on for you, so Judy and I are having trouble hearing you.
Sorry about that.
All right, thank you. All right, 98 in evidence. Thank you.
That's a photo of you opening your mouth on the right.
Boom.
That's correct.
And again, a larger view of the same photo on the bottom
That's correct.
with a split lip.
You've seen pictures of it without makeup. Yes,
So you had a split lip when you
I
were
sure
moving
did.
your mouth that way
I sure did.
in those photographs.
Absolutely.
I sure did. Absolutely.
You did take pictures of your alleged injuries after December 15th, correct? And you showed those to this jury?
I sure did, yes.
Okay. Let's please pull up Defendants Exhibit 516, which is already in evidence.
Amber, the mic had.
Testified
Come
that
on,
this is a
lady.
picture of you after the incident on December 15th, 2015, right?
It was.
And if we could also please pull up Defendants Exhibit 517, which is also in evidence. Thank you, Your Honor. This is also a picture of you after the incident on December 15th, 2015.
That's correct.
If we could please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 409, which is already in evidence. These pictures ended up in People magazine in June of 2016. Isn't that right, Ms. Heard?
That's correct.
You gave these pictures to People magazine after you publicly accused Mr. Depp of domestic abuse, didn't you?
I didn't personally know.
This was you protecting Mr. Depp after you got the restraining order against him, isn't it?
No, this is him calling me a liar and me forcing to prove it, as I mentioned to you earlier.
So you did give these pictures to People magazine?
No, I gave these pictures actually to my lawyers and my representatives at the time.
So it's your testimony, Ms. Heard, that your lawyers and representatives gave these pictures of their client to People magazine in the middle of a contentious divorce?
Why do
certainly
I
did
feel
not
like
personally give it? No.
Camille is my spirit animal, and that if I were in
You also
her
have a medical
shoes, those
record
are
from
exactly the same
after the
questions and
December
tone I
15th,
would be
2015
using.
incident, don't you?
A partial one, yes.
You went to see Dr. Kipper's office a couple days later.
That's right. He wasn't in the office.
Can we please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 47, which is already in evidence? This is your medical record for December 17th, 2015, isn't it, Ms. Heard?
That's correct.
And this record doesn't document any physical injuries on you, does it?
I don't think so, no. I don't think I spoke to Kipper. I didn't speak to Kipper that day. And
But you
I
went
didn't,
to Dr. Kipper's office and were seen, correct?
I went to Dr. Kipper's office for a concussion check.
Right, okay. And this medical record is from that visit, correct?
Partially, yes.
Scroll down, please, if we could. The signature Kipper down below. This is the entirety of the medical record, right, Ms. Heard?
Yes, what I meant by partial is I didn't talk about what happened to me. I didn't get into my injuries. I didn't get into what happened or ask for anything other than should I get some sort of scan done.
But this record doesn't document any physical injuries on you, does it?
I'd have to read it in full, but I don't know.
Well, let's do that. We could please go, well, under skin on the second page, it reads intact, normal color, moisture, hair distribution, texture, turgor, no signs of, oh, this is going to be hard, cyanosis, mottling, jaundice.
It also says I'm a well-nourished male.
I think it's I
Right.
think that's
I have no idea what that
cyanosis.
means.
I think this medical record's missing a lot of things.
Yeah, it doesn't document any physical injuries,
Doesn't seem to be documenting anything.
probably because there was nothing to document, right, Ms. Heard?
I
Boom.
disagree with you on that.
You don't have any medical records reflecting that you broke your nose during your relationship with Mr. Depp, do you?
I saw an ENT after my relationship ended.
And you saw an ENT, it's your testimony under oath that you saw an ENT for broken noses that you sustained as a result of Mr. Depp?
No, but the ENT told me I sustained
Objection.
multiple fractures.
No, I mean, move to strike. Your
I'll
Honor.
sustain the objection. I'll move it to strike.
Thank you. So again, just to try my question, There's no medical records reflecting that you broke your nose during your relationship with Mr. Depp, is there, Ms. Heard?
I don't know what made it in evidence, but I do know that I documented that visit and that everything was given to my attorneys.
Ms. Heard, you never went to see any doctor or surgeon to treat a broken nose during your relationship with Mr. Depp, yes or no?
I never sought treatment for broken nose while I was with Johnny.
Or after you were with Mr. Depp, as a result of any injuries you sustained as a result of Mr. Depp?
Afterwards, yes, I did.
Hey,
You
Kiss
didn't produce those
Chick.
medical records in this case.
I'm gonna object, Your Honor. She did.
Thanks for stopping in, babe. I know you're
Alright, you have not
busy.
been
Hope you're
produced.
feeling
They've not
better.
only
All right,
been
if you would
produced,
come on, approach.
You don't have any medical records reflecting that you required any dental work during your relationship with Mr. Depp, do you?
I don't know. I don't recall.
You don't recall one way or another seeking dental care for any injuries you allegedly sustained?
You asked me about if I had produced records or if I had records. That's a different question.
Did you ever see a dentist or an oral surgeon as
Yes.
a result of any injuries you sustained with Mr. Depp?
Not about any injury I had from Johnny, no.
And you don't have any medical records reflecting that you required any reconstructive work during your relationship with Mr. Depp, do you?
I never required reconstructive work, so there would be no records.
What you do have, Ms. Heard, are pictures of Mr. Depp sleeping, though, right? The jury saw a lot of those.
Yes.
Ms. Heard, let's take a look at Defendants Exhibit 1090, which is already in evidence. You took this photograph, right, Ms. Heard?
That's correct.
And you testified that this was taken in Tokyo in July of 2013, correct?
Yes.
So you decided to take a picture of Mr. Depp asleep on the floor?
He was passed out.
That's a
And I
yes.
took a picture of him because he wouldn't remember. He claimed he didn't pass out that way. And sometimes security would carry him like a baby into bed, get him changed, and he would be none the wiser. So I started taking pictures of it so that he knew that it was real, that it had gotten this bad.
Let's take a
Aren't you
look at
so
Defendants
not?
Exhibit
Look, you're such a
1091,
helper,
which is already in
Amber.
evidence.
You're just
You took
so
this picture as well.
helpful.
Yes.
And this is a picture that was taken in the Bahamas, right?
It's one of them, yes.
And this is a picture of Mr. Depp taking a nap on his tropical island.
I believe he was on the nod, but as he would say.
Sleeping on the
Oh.
nod on his island
They're very different, in my opinion. And yes,
Oh.
he is on the island.
Okay.
on vacation.
We were on vacation, yes.
Let's also take a look at Defendants Exhibit 1092, which is also in evidence. You also took this picture, right, Ms. Heard?
That's correct. I did.
And this is another picture of Mr. Depp asleep in a chair.
No, he was nodding off. Sleep is different. When you're nodding off, you're high on drugs. Didn't even feel the cigarette in his hand that had, been burning on his leg. It was cause for alarm for me, naturally, because I cared about him.
It's your testimony under oath that Mr. Depp is holding a cigarette in this picture?
He had been.
You seem to really like taking pictures of Mr. Depp while he's sleeping, don't you?
I hated it. I hated it.
Let's look at Defendants Exhibit 1094, which is also in evidence. You took this picture of Mr. Depp as well, didn't you?
I did.
And you decided to take a picture of Mr. Depp asleep with ice cream spilled all over him, right?
He was nodding off, and I was worried about how bad the medications and the medication change and the drug use had gotten, where he wouldn't even feel ice cream or a lit cigarette on him, and it scared me.
So you took a picture of it.
Yes, I wanted him to get help, and Johnny's surrounded by enablers who clean up after him. and
Objection,
protect
Your
him.
Honor, I'm going to move to strike everything after yes, that she took this picture.
It's still responsive, Your Honor.
The question was, did you take this picture?
All right, I'll sustain the objection.
Thank you, Your Honor. This isn't a very flattering picture of Mr. Depp, is it?
No, it's not.
You wouldn't agree that this is, or you would agree with me that this is an embarrassing scene, right?
Yes, I think it's a part of getting help is looking at it, seeing it.
But you sent this picture to one of your friends, didn't you?
I don't recall.
If we could please pull up Defendants Exhibit 252.
Girl, now you know darn right well they're going to pull your text. Stop playing
We'll
with
only be
this
looking at the
lady.
portion
She's
of
not
this
playing with
document.
you.
So if we could please call it Defendants Exhibit 252A.
252A.
And for ease, we've gone ahead and redacted it.
Yes, I was asking for support. That's correct.
There's no question yet, Ms. Hurd. So directing your attention, I'm going to move to admit Exhibit
Yeah, Ms. Hurd.
252A.
Any objection? Any objection, Ms. Freddo? Could you turn your microphone again? Thank you.
Is this your first day in court, Miss
Can you
Bretta
see
Hoff?
it
Because,
first,
like,
'cause I don't know
we
what
have
they
to
did.
tell you this all the
I
time.
redacted the identifiers and anything that's
Now
not
get
Ms.
your
Hurd's
life right,
text
girl.
messages. Consistent with hearsay.
You want me to reapproach?
Okay.
Here we go. Another 87 hours of approaching. Let me just go ahead and speed this up for us so I don't mess it up by trying to scroll. You know, I'm not good at that. What's funny is I can't seem to do well at scrolling on the YouTubes, but like there's games like the game a Mario Party where you have to consistently and accurately push a sequence of buttons that I'm unbeatable at. But mastering the scroll on the YouTubes, not so much. Bit difficult for your girl for some reason.
Sir, does this refresh your recollection that you did in fact send this picture to your friend Rocky Pennington?
Yes, I did.
And you sent it to her on August 7th, 2014 at 11:24
Oh,
p.m.,
thanks,
correct?
That is correct.
Christine G. That's me for the trick.
So you sent Ms. Pennington this picture of Mr. Depp with ice cream spilled on him, right?
That is correct.
And you wrote, quote, "This is what I've been dealing with," end quote. Did I read that right?
You did read that right. That's correct.
And this is you protecting Mr. Depp.
That is me getting support from my best friend.
This is you supporting Mr. Depp.
This is me getting support from my best friend. I also need support.
You weren't afraid the monster would get upset that you took this picture?
This was
That's an
Opiate
excellent
Johnny.
question.
This is a different version of him. This is Opiate on the Nod Johnny.
And you weren't afraid that
Oh.
Opiate Johnny, or the monster as you called him, would get upset that you sent this picture to your friend?
Well, he's all of those things. Of course he could get upset. Of course that's scary to me, of course.
Did it
But
stop you from sending this picture to your friend, did it?
why would it?
Because you just said he was a monster.
Mr. Depp's right hand is in his pocket, right, Ms. Hurd? In this
Yes,
picture?
that's correct.
You also showed this jury pictures of cocaine. Do you recall that?
Yes, that's correct.
Let's please take a look at one of those. If we could please pull up Defendants Exhibit 167A, which is already in evidence. Directing your attention, Ms. Hurd, to a photograph. This is a photograph you took in March of 2013, right?
That is correct.
And this was taken at your apartment in Orange.
Yes,
And this is your breakfast table.
that is correct.
And it's your testimony that Mr. Depp left this breakfast table just the way you took it.
That is correct.
So this is what the table looked like after Mr. Depp had been doing cocaine.
Well, clearly he has yet to snort these lines.
This is my favorite, well, one of my
There are
favorite
4 lines of
parts.
cocaine on this table, right, Ms. Hurd?
In this picture, I see 4 lines.
There isn't any cocaine residue around those lines, right?
Not that I can tell, no.
Doesn't really look like anyone's been doing cocaine off that table, does it?
With all due respect, I'm not sure you know how that works.
I'm asking if you do. You testified you've done cocaine.
I have.
Doesn't really look like Mr. Depp or anyone was doing cocaine off that table, does it?
I beg to differ with you on that. When you snort cocaine, typically it goes into your nose.
And
It
there's
doesn't stay on the
residue.
table.
There's residue from that cocaine when your lips and nose touch the table, right?
Well, the tampon applicator next to the driver's license that you see is a device that I believe my sister had taught him to use in order to put the cocaine in your nose.
Mr. Depp is a pretty heavy smoker, right?
He is.
And that's a cigarette in the ashtray in the back there? Back right?
Yes, it looks like one of his hand rolls.
There's no other cigarettes in that ashtray, are there?
I see one cigarette.
I'm sorry, but
The
I
one
have
that's
to
not smoked.
agree with
That's correct.
Camille
There's no
because
ash in
there
that
would be
ashtray either,
residue.
is there?
Not that I can tell in this picture.
It's pretty clean.
In this picture, it looks like it, yes.
It's a pretty neat table. Wouldn't you agree?
Depends on what you would call neat, I suppose.
And you sent this picture to your friend, Rocky Pennington, as well, didn't you?
I sure did.
And when you sent it, you said, quote, "Look at my morning," or something like that. Is that right?
Yay for mornings.
Hey,
You have this
SoCal, make
habit
a
of sending
pint.
stage photographs to your friend Rocky, don't you?
I had a habit of communicating with my best friend about what was going on in my life.
You don't have any pictures of Mr. Depp actually consuming cocaine, do you?
I don't think I have a picture of him mid-snort. No.
You don't even have any pictures of Mr. Depp with cocaine.
What do you mean by that?
It's a lot
Holding
less
cocaine, standing next to
it's more
cocaine.
inconspicuous than say a straw,
Sitting
like
next
a
to
cut
cocaine.
straw.
I
If you're
don't know.
carrying it
I
on
don't
you,
know.
chances
Well,
are
you
you
haven't
won't
shown any
get
of those pictures like that to the jury,
it won't
have you?
raise suspicion,
know.
especially if you're
No,
a
I haven't.
female. That's
And you were
why
never able to catch Mr. Depp with cocaine on film either, were you?
I never tried.
I think
But you were able to catch him sleeping, right?
I have seen him pass out in all sorts of places, yes.
And you
Just
also
using
captured a video of
logic.
Mr. Depp in the kitchen that was played again for this jury today, beating up some cabinets. Do you recall that?
Sorry, say that again?
You recall capturing Mr. Depp in the kitchen of one of his homes, beating up some cabinets?
Yes. Slamming things around, yes.
So you took that video of Mr. Depp in the kitchen, right?
I did.
And you took it on one of your iPad devices?
I took it on my iPad.
You were deposed in August of 2016 in connection with your divorce proceedings from Mr. Depp, right?
That is correct.
And you will recall that the
Yes,
video of Mr. Depp
Savannah,
in the kitchen
that's
was
exactly
released
what
online
she's
the day
doing.
before your deposition in August of 2016, don't you?
That's correct.
You're the one who released that video.
Incorrect.
Isn't that true?
That's incorrect. I flew in from another place at the time. I remember learning about it when I landed.
So it's just a coincidence that the video you took of Mr. Depp was released the day before you were deposed in connection with your divorce from Mr. Depp.
I absolutely had nothing to do with that. I wouldn't even know how to do something like that.
Oh, okay.
You settled your divorce from Mr. Depp in August of 2016, right?
That sounds right.
And in connection with that settlement, you received $7 million from Mr. Depp, true?
That's correct.
And then
6.8 exactly.
your settlement amount was $7 million.
Okay. Now we're really about to get into it. This is very, very, very important. I'm not going to play it on 1.5 speed. I'm going to turn it to normal because that, or whatever I was playing it on, what I say, 1.25, I'm putting it to normal. Pay attention to the question that is asked, each word that she uses, and Amber's response. Okay? This part is incredibly important, but not for the reasons you guys might think. Hit it.
$1 million.
That's correct.
And then you released a statement in which you claimed you would be donating the entire $7 million to charity, right?
That's correct.
You stated you would be donating half of the $7 million to the ACLU,
That's correct.
and you would be donating the other half to Children's Hospital of Los Angeles.
That is correct.
And you also stated, with respect to the $7 million divorce settlement, that money played no role except for the extent that you could donate the money to charity.
Yes, that's correct.
If we could please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 1259. This is an article entitled Amber Heard Donates Johnny Depp Divorce Settlement to Charity. Read her statement in full. Is that correct?
That's what the title says, yes.
Jody, you
Directing your
need a
attention
note,
to the
babe?
portion on the second page where it says,
I would be more than
read the
happy
statement
to
below.
to intervene on your behalf at work. I'm an excellent letter of explanation writer.
Is that the statement you released, Ms. Heard?
That is correct.
Your Honor, I move to admit the statement and the article as redacted.
Objection, hearsay.
It's her statement.
This is not her statement. This is
She just testified, Your Honor, that it's her statement.
May I see the full?
Everything else is redacted.
Okay, then I have no objection.
All right, 1259 in evidence as redacted.
You tried, Elaine.
The statement reads, as described in the restraining order and divorce settlement, money played no role for me personally and never has, except to the extent that I could donate it to charity, and in doing so, hopefully help those less able to defend themselves. As reported in the media, the amount received in the divorce was $7 million, and $7 million is being donated. This is over and above any funds that I have given away in the past and will continue to give away in the future. Did I read that correctly?
That is correct. I don't remember that last line, but I have no, it doesn't stand out to me as wrong.
There's nothing inaccurate in the statement.
Not that I recognize, no.
Girl.
Mr. Depp donated $100,000 of the divorce settlement directly to the ACLU. Is that right?
Right at the beginning of the divorce settlement, he donated $100,000 to each charity on my behalf or towards my contribution.
So $100,000
to each.
To the ACLU.
And to the Children's Hospital.
And in response, you publicly demanded that Mr. Depp pay the divorce settlement directly to you instead of the charities, right?
That was always the agreement, actually, is for him to pay me directly. It was not his money as per the settlement agreement to give away and reap a tax benefit from. I said if he wants to do it and give to charity all of a sudden, then he should pay the correct amount and not try to get a big tax break for it. So effectively for his tax bracket, he should be paying double that amount to the charity directly. And if he wanted to pay the charity directly, he could. He could do that, was fine with me, but he would need to pay the adjusted amount.
Oh, so now you do
Ultimately,
taxes.
the rest of the $7 million divorce settlement was paid directly to you, right?
Over time, yes.
And Mr. Depp didn't end up paying the rest of the $7 million divorce settlement directly to the charities you identified.
That is correct. He paid the installments to me.
You stopped that from happening, didn't you?
I don't understand what your question is. I'm sorry.
You stopped Mr. Depp from paying the charities that you had named directly.
That is incorrect. I said if you want to pay the charities directly, pay the adjusted amount, or pay as per our agreement in the settlement or in the divorce, as per our agreement.
You also
And
publicly...
he chose to do the former, not the latter. I mean, the other way around.
You also publicly stated that the $7 million divorce settlement should be paid to the charities immediately in full, right?
If he wanted to pay it in the way that he was suggesting, yes.
And you said publicly that the payments to the charities should not be drawn out over many years, right?
I said that I don't recall the exact words that I used, but basically that he shouldn't use this as a novel interest in getting a tax break, that if he wanted to do that and not pay me the settlement, that was fine, but he would have to pay the adjusted amount and not make it, you know, a commitment he would not fulfill or try to avoid in some other way.
And that's because you wanted the entire world to think that you were donating every penny of the $7 million divorce settlement as soon as you received it from Mr. Depp. Isn't that right?
No, I was going to be receiving it in installments, and I would be paying in installments the donations.
In fact, you released a statement in response to Mr. Depp's $100,000 donations to the ACLU and CHLA, didn't you?
I don't recall.
Let's see if we can refresh your recollection. If we could please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 1260. This is an article entitled Amber Heard and Johnny Depp Row Over Divorce Donations.
We're going to get
I could
to,
direct your attention to where it says,
we're getting there,
it's on
Heather.
the second page. Her spokeswoman responded in a statement. The language that follows the
Objection.
statement you released,
Objection, hearsay, spokeswoman, it's not her.
a spokesperson is an exception, Your Honor.
You want to come forward?
Excuse me.
You released a statement
Your Honor,
through.
may we approach again?
Okay.
Elaine, you're so rude. Even the judge is like, what is she doing?
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I said. Your Honor, would you like to see one as well?
No,
So did
that's fine.
Dr.
That's fine.
Hughes.
Thank you.
Dr. Hughes, people took to her website and gave her bad reviews as well after her testimony, which I don't think it's right, but because I just don't.
Could you please turn your microphone on? I'm sorry, Ms. Berto.
Your Honor, they gave me a redacted, but I don't have the unredacted to be able to see the full
I
document.
plan to admit it or ask that it be admitted in redacted form. I'm taking away any hearsay and I'm just trying to lay the foundation that this is a statement she released through a spokesperson.
How would I know whether there's more to it that shouldn't be redacted, Your Honor, if I don't see the full document?
Your Honor, the witness can testify as to whether this is a full statement or not.
The witness can't do, we have the right to be able to see the document.
All right. Do you have the document that's not redacted?
We can pull it up on our computers.
Okay.
Just give us a moment, Your Honor.
All right.
I can represent this is the full statement that's reported.
Give her an opportunity to look at the unredacted one.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I think Elaine needs a nap and a muffin. Elaine, it doesn't matter, no matter how many times you try to.
Your Honor, Can we
Here
have
we
a
go.
copy of this?
You can get a copy of that
Happily.
later
Yes.
today. Okay.
Right,
All
I
right.
mean, I think she should be giving us copies of the full.
Well, I
thing
understand, but
before.
we'll take care of that. But
Okay.
as of right now, can we continue?
We can, Your Honor, but I have an objection because of, there's some quotation marks missing.
Okay, come forward.
Oh, yes, Sarah, I will, babe. I will be live tomorrow. Y'all, I can't not watch this with y'all. I can't wait all the way up until 9 o'clock at night or even 8 o'clock at night to discuss this. I'm doing good just to stop at lunchtime.
All right.
Aw, that's so sweet. Thank you, Sarah. I love having
So
you guys
directing your
here.
attention, Ms. Heard, where it says her spokeswoman responded in a statement.
Your
The
Honor,
language that follows.
Your Honor, again, she can't read it. She has to show it
The
to
language
her.
that follows.
Right. If you want to lay a
Is this-
foundation to that, go ahead.
You released a statement after Mr. Depp donated $100,000 to the ACLU and $100,000 to CHLA. Correct, Ms. Heard?
I think so, yes.
And the language that follows is the statement you released in response to Mr. Depp's donations, right?
I don't know if this is the official statement. I have no idea.
The statement that starts
Objection, Your Honor.
at Amber Heard. That's the only thing I'm going to say. Would you please read that to yourself, Ms. Heard?
Hey, DTC. Good to see ya.
Yes.
9 a.m. anaphylaxis. And then again
Read all the
at
way to the very bottom where the last word is supported.
probably 8 p.m. Eastern, too. Blessed Elaine.
Yes.
That's a statement you released through your spokeswoman after Mr. Depp made the donations.
I was thinking the same thing, Paula.
The CHLA and the ACLU. Correct, Ms. Heard?
I do not recall exactly what my statement was. I don't disagree with anything in the statement, but I just simply don't recall what the statement was we released.
Is there anything inaccurate in that statement, Ms. Heard?
No.
Yes, ma'am. 9
I move
a.m.
to
Eastern.
admit-
Objection, Your Honor, lack of foundation.
Court starts
I'll
at 9
overrule the
a.m.
objection. 1260 in evidence over objection.
Thank you, Your Honor. Statement reads, Amber Heard appreciates Johnny Depp's novel interest in supporting two of her favorite charities, the ACLU, American Civil Liberties Union for Domestic Violence, and the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles. This is great and unexpected news. And it continues. However, if Johnny wishes to change the settlement agreement, we must insist that he honor the full amount by donating $14 million to charity, which, after accounting for his tax deduction, is equal to his $7 million payment obligation to Amber. And it continues. We would also insist that the full amount be paid immediately and not drawn out over many years. Anything less would be a transparent attempt by Johnny's counsel, Laura Wasser and Patty Glazer, to reduce their client's true payment by half under the guise of newfound concern for charities that he has never previously supported, end quote. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
Thank you. After this, you kept commenting about the donation of your divorce settlement, right?
I don't know what you mean by that.
Okay. You spoke about donating your divorce settlement on a Danish TV show, correct?
I believe I said I had I believe I said I donated it to charity, but it was already printed or already commented on and stated in the press. I had already released that information in the press. I think I just confirmed it on that show.
You appeared on a show called RTL Late Night, right?
I don't recall what show it was.
If we could please play Plaintiff's Exhibit 346, which is a portion of your appearance on this program. And we would ask that it be moved into evidence and ask for permission to publish it.
It contains, has hearsay, it contains other communications with other individuals.
Your Honor, if we may approach very briefly.
Oh, for Pete's sake, I forgot about all these dadgum approaches. Approach this. Personally, I think the reason that she cares is because she wants to be in control of all of the things. And once she and Johnny Depp were no longer married and she didn't have the same measure of control over him, I think she did it because I think she wanted him to look like a jerk in the press, as if he were simply doing what he was doing, not out of the kindness of his heart, but as a dig at her. I also think she wanted the money, period. I just want to know what Mr. Depp, what are you drawing over there, Johnny? Could you show me? I would really love to see it.
So if we could please play and publish to the jury Plaintiff's Exhibit 346.
346 in evidence?
There actually were all kinds of accusations flying your way when you said all this, and then there was a divorce settlement. You got $7 million. People were saying this is all about the money, but then you did something that twisted that whole argument. What did you do with that money?
$7 million in total was donated to, I split it between the ACLU and Children's Hospital.
Jody.
ACLU is a human rights organization.
Sorry, ACLU is a prominent organization, nonprofit organization in the United States. Yeah. It's called the American Civil Liberties Union, and they work on behalf of marginalized communities on the ground and in legislative reform. Right. And
well, more power to you, because that's something that I've never heard of.
I wanted nothing.
This interview was in October
of
2018, right, Ms. Heard?
I don't recall when it was.
It was in 2018, right, Ms. Heard?
I don't remember when this was done.
This was after you had received the full $7 million of your divorce settlement for Mr. Depp, wasn't it?
Again, without knowing when it was recorded, I have no idea.
The $7 million divorce settlement was paid to you in full by February of 2018, right?
That's correct.
Let's take a look at Defendants Exhibit 1458, which is already in evidence. This is the deal point memorandum from your divorce settlement, right, Ms. Heard?
Yes, that's what it looks like.
And if we go down to the bottom of page 4, there's a heading labeled equalization payment. Do you see that?
Yes.
And underneath that, it outlines a payment schedule for the divorce payments, correct?
Yes.
Well, it begins to. And if we go on page 5, so the first payment is scheduled for August 31st, 2016, and that's $200,000, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Mr. Depp's accountant, Edward White, testified that he made that payment directly.
You got to turn on your microphone, Ms. Berderhoff. I'm not going to hear you.
Objection to her testifying to what Mr. White testified to. That.
Okay.
It's he literally testified to it in court.
I'll overrule objection.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Depp's accountant, Edward White, testified that he made the payment directly to the ACLU and CHLA, correct?
I believe so, yes.
And then the rest of the payments were all made to you, weren't they?
That is correct.
And the final payment of $2.3 million is on February 1st, 2018, right?
The final payment, yes.
And you were here in court when Mr. White testified that the payments were all made on schedule.
I'm going to object to her testifying to what Mr. White testified to. It's an
Overrule the
improper-
objection. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. And you were here in court when Mr. White testified that the payments were all made on schedule, right?
I don't believe they were. He might have
That's
testified
not my
to
question, Ms. Heard. My question was, you were here in court when Mr. White testified under oath that all the payments were made on schedule.
that. I was here every day in court. I heard his testimony, yes.
Okay. So back to October of 2018, this was before Mr. Depp sued you for defamation, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
He didn't sue you until after the op-ed came out in December of 2018.
I do
right?
know who she
He
is. She's
sued me in
quite funny.
2019.
And the op-ed came out in December of 2018.
That is correct.
So in October of 2018, you had received your entire $7 million divorce settlement. You would
That-
agree with me.
That is correct.
And you hadn't yet been sued by Mr. Depp.
This is October, correct.
So in this October 2018 interview, you said that you had, quote, donated, end quote, your entire divorce settlement to charity, right?
That's correct.
And in fact, your exact words were, quote, $7 million in total was donated to, I split it between the ACLU and the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, end quote, right?
That's correct. I made that statement as soon as I got a divorce and we reached the settlement. That's when I pledged it, right then.
And you say this because you, quote, wanted nothing, end quote.
That is correct.
But you hadn't donated your entire $7 million settlement to charity at that point, had you?
That's incorrect.
Sitting here today, Ms. Heard, you still haven't donated the $7 million divorce settlement to charity. Isn't that right?
Incorrect. I pledged the entirety
No,
of the
Ms. Heard,
settlement,
that's
$7
not
million
my
to
question.
charity, and I
Heard,
intend to
Ms.
fulfill
Heard,
those obligations.
Ms. Heard, that's not my question. Please,
What was
try
your
to answer
question?
my question. Sitting here today, you have not donated the $7 million, donated, not pledged, donated the $7 million divorce settlement to charity.
I use pledge and donation synonymous with one another. They
They're
are
But
the
I
same
don't.
thing.
Ms. Heard, I don't use it synonymously.
That's how donations are paid.
Ms. Heard, respectfully, that's not my question. As of today, you have not paid $3.5 million of your own money to the ACLU. Yes or no?
I have not yet.
And as of today, you have not paid $3.5 million of your own money to the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, correct?
I have not yet. Johnny sued me.
So as of today, you have not donated, paid $7 million of your divorce settlement to charity, right?
I have not been able to fulfill those obligations yet.
And that's because you did want something, didn't you?
I didn't want anything and I didn't get anything.
You wanted Mr. Depp's money.
Didn't get it, wasn't interested in it.
Mm.
I loved Johnny. That's why I was with him.
You wanted praise for donating the money, right?
That's incorrect.
You wanted good press.
In general, one does want good press, yes.
You wanted to seem altruistic publicly.
Wasn't my interest. My interest is in my name and clearing my name. And at the time, I was being called a liar and my motives were being questioned. I did see it as important to clear that up. I wanted to make a statement to make sure that there was not any doubt that I couldn't be labeled these things just because Johnny was a bigger star and had more publicity reach.
You wanted to remind everyone of your claims of domestic violence against Mr. Depp, right?
No, I wanted to move on with my life.
You wanted to make those claims seem believable.
They are believable. They were
You wanted
believable.
them to be seen, you wanted to be seen, excuse me, as a noble victim of domestic violence.
Watch.
I have never wanted to be seen as a victim. Nor have I
You-
ever called myself one.
You testified under oath that, quote, the entirety of your divorce settlement was donated to charity, end quote, didn't you?
That's correct. I pledged the entirety.
No. Ms. Heard, my questions. Your counsel will have time to redirect you after. You testified under oath, quote, the entirety of your divorce settlement was donated to charity, end quote.
That is correct. I pledged the entirety.
No.
I'm going to move to strike everything after yes.
All right.
No.
N-
Ms. Hurt,
I
this is
doesn't-
really inappropriate.
I'll sustain the objection and we'll just move forward.
Thank
Let's move forward. Next question.
Under oath, that statement wasn't true, was it, Ms. Hurd?
I'm sorry, I don't follow your question. Sorry.
You testified under oath, quote, the entirety of my divorce settlement was donated to charity, end quote. That statement wasn't true.
It is true. I pledged the entirety to charity.
You said
Statement.
donated.
When you
There's
say
a
you buy
different
house,
word.
you don't pay for
Ms.
the
Hurd,
entire
Ms.
house
Hurd,
at one time.
respectfully,
You pay it
I'm
over
not asking,
time.
Ms. Hurd.
All right. Next question, please.
Thank you. That statement isn't true today, as you sit here today, is it?
It is true. I pledged the entirety.
But
to
you didn't
charity.
donate it.
Unfortunately,
You didn't donate it. It's a yes or no.
I haven't been able to to fulfill those
So that's a no, right,
obligations.
Ms. Hurd?
I made the pledge. I want to be very clear. I pledged the entirety. I haven't been able to fulfill those pledges because I've been sued.
You had all of the $7 million for 13 months before Mr. Depp sued you, and you chose not to pay it to the charities you pledged it to. Is that correct, Ms.
I
Hurd?
disagree with your characterization of that.
Let's look at your sworn testimony from the UK.
Pay attention.
All right. Yes, ma'am.
So I'm a little confused because I think I missed a
Thank
part.
you.
So when Camille is asking her about her sworn testimony, she's talking about her sworn testimony from which trial? The
Ms.
UK
Bass, would you
trial
like me to close the
or
shade?
this trial?
Okay. There's this light coming across. And
So I appreciate that.
Has to be a
It's
little
probably good
uncomfortable.
light. Thank you, Your Honor.
all right.
Or, I mean, I know right now she's about to bring up the UK trial. That's what I thought. Okay. Okay, just checking. I just wanted to make sure that I had it right.
This is your third witness statement that you submitted in the UK action, right, Ms. Hurd?
Correct.
And this statement was made under oath, true?
That is true.
I'm directing your attention to the last page of that statement. That's your signature, right?
Yes, it is.
So you made the sworn statement on February 26, 2020.
That's correct.
And directing your attention to paragraph 4. It says, quote, I remained financially independent from him the whole time we were together, and the entire amount of my divorce settlement was donated to charity, end quote.
That is correct.
Did I read that correctly?
Yes, you did.
The him you were referring to is Mr. Depp.
That is correct.
Most of the money that was donated to the ACLU and CHLA in your name came from someone else. Isn't that right?
I don't know what you mean by most of.
Well, at least $500,000 that was donated to the ACLU in your name wasn't paid by you, right?
I believe Elon made a donation in my honor on one of the years.
Yeah, and it didn't come out of your $7 million divorce settlement, right?
No, nor did it count towards my pledge.
And at least $500,000 that was donated to the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles in your name wasn't paid by you either.
Right, those were made at the same time.
And it
Good
didn't
night,
come out
Sarah.
of your $7 million divorce settlement.
Nor did it count to my 3.5 obligation.
Those
Thanks for coming, babe.
$500,000
See you in the
payments
morning.
Came from your new boyfriend, Elon Musk, right?
I don't know if he was a new boyfriend at the time.
You got him to pay part of what you promised to these two charities, didn't you?
Incorrect.
Because you wanted to keep at least some of the $7 million divorce settlement for yourself, right?
You're very wrong about that.
I think this, if Your Honor's
Okay, you
fine,
said
this is a good
it's
stopping
breaking
point.
point. Okay, that's fine. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll stop here for the evening. Remember tonight, do not do any outside research.
Okay, we won't. All right. So you all understand the implication of what just took place there? So if she testified in the UK, even though she was not a party to the lawsuit, she testified under oath that she donated the entirety of her $7 million divorce settlement. Donated, not pledged, donated. Donated means you paid it. Pledged means you will pay. It's like an IOU. But a donation is don't owe you. I done paid you. That is how you get somebody for perjury. You take something that they have already testified under oath to, and when they're testifying again, if they change their testimony, meaning they use the word pledge in the second trial versus donate, which is of two very different things, that's how you get somebody for perjury. That is how you prove perjury. And that's what they did. Now, I don't know about the laws in the UK because I don't live there and I'm not familiar. I don't know how it works there. I don't know if they have a statute of limitations on things like that. I am not sure at all. I thought Camille did excellent. And I think that it was a very, very smart move for them to utilize her in particular. She is very, very good at redirecting, pointing out, lady, you didn't answer my question in a way that doesn't come across as argumentative or badgering. So think of the way that, and I would tell the truth. If I thought Camille did a bad job, I would say so. If I thought that there were parts where Amber scored a point over her, I would tell. But think back to the way that Elaine handled Dr. Curry. She came across as rude, dismissive, and juries don't actually like that. But the way that Camille handled Amber is the way that you would handle a child. No, that's not what I asked. And she got Amber to admit that she did not donate one single penny of the divorce settlement to those charities. Now, the other part where she really scored a point was the victim. Because who's going to bed? Good night, Nonstop Moms. See you later, alligator. The victim part. First and foremost, there is a way to state that you don't consider yourself, you can be emphatic without growling. And Amber growled. She leaned forward, she spoke slowly, and she spoke through clenched teeth. I have never considered myself a victim, nor have I called myself a victim. And that's important because it shows how little it takes to set Amber off. And that is Amber at, I would say, 2. Well, it's not that it's fine to not want to be seen as a victim, right? I would much rather be seen as a survivor, okay? That's just me personally, okay? But if I were to be called a victim, I definitely would not lean forward and growl at the person that's asking me the question. It's not about the fact that she doesn't want to be seen as a victim. That's not the point. The point is the way that she said it, her behavior when she said it. It is the fact that it does not take much for Amber to come out of her hair, for lack of a better word. The truth of the matter is that she's been called a liar. And let's be honest, what is really at the core of the majority of people? Would you rather be known as a victim or as a liar? See, for me, I don't want to be known as either one, right? But if I were to get irritated, I would become irritated at being called a liar, not at being called a victim, right? But Amber, obviously that is her button. It's a button to push with her. And what it shows is that she has a propensity for when her buttons are pushed to react, she started to become combative. And that is the truth. And that is exactly what the jury needs to see. Because in all of those audios, okay, the recordings and whatnot, the days of conjuring an image in your mind because you're hearing audio are kind of far gone. You know what I mean? Nowadays, even with music, it stopped a long time ago. You watch MTV and you can see the people performing the song, right? There's a music video that then encapsulates the overall meaning of the song, right? We don't really use those. Hey, criminality. We're typically, we see a lot more images now, right? We have access to more images. We don't have to conjure an image in our mind as much as in the days of past, right? Past days. So even though the audio is there, you can definitely hear what's being said. You can hear the tone of voice. You can hear who's screaming, who's not screaming, who's closest, all that. You can, those are things that you can tell. But there is nothing like seeing somebody visually have an angry reaction. And that's what happened when she was pushed by using the word victim. And that's what the jury needed to see, because up until this point, the only video that they have is of Johnny Depp and his anger towards those cabinets in the kitchen there. They, they haven't really seen what Amber looks like when she is, hey, Vincent's missing here. Long time no see, babe. Nope, there wasn't a visual of that hasn't been shown. They've seen pictures of her injuries, but they've not seen they've not seen a reaction from Amber from having a conversation. It's one thing for you to hear somebody to hear two people having a conversation and there's yelling and screaming and obscenities, right? Okay, it's different to see it. And the thing is it's the fact that it's the word victim is what triggered her, and it came out of nowhere. To be fair, Camille was at that moment, although her question was pointed and it was shade, what she was implying, or it wasn't even implying, what she was outright stating. She did throw some shade, but to react in such a manner to a little shade being thrown, I mean, she's been straight up calling you a liar the whole time she's been questioning you, and you don't have that visceral of a reaction, right? That's what it was. They needed for people to see. They needed the jury to see how quickly she goes from 0 to and I'm not gonna, that isn't like livid, but you can see that she's aggressive, and that's not a good look, because it's going to be difficult for the jury to believe that the times that Amber hit Johnny, because that's what she spent a lot of time doing. I forgot about that this morning. She spent a lot of time. They played a lot of audio clips. Audio clips that we already heard, right? And she spent an inordinate amount of time twisting the meaning of what was said in those audio tapes. And this is what I meant. This is how I was feeling. But what's fascinating to me is that in all of that audio, right, never, not once, does she ever say in the audio what she claims she meant on the stand. Because it's not like they're, completely, you know what I mean? It wasn't an argument that they were having. It's, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't the heat of the moment. There are some moments in some of those recordings where it hasn't escalated quite yet. They are having a conversation, especially the one where they're talking about her calling him a big baby. And he's telling her, don't tell me what it feels like to get fucking punched, or whatever it is he says right there. I feel like, yeah. I lost my train of thought. Sorry, you guys. Let's see, Karen. I'm curious where you read that, because it's interesting you bring that up. So, over the lunch break, I was watching Law and Crime, and they were, I cannot remember. I know one of the guests was an attorney, and this was right before they got back from lunch, and we didn't know whether or not this is over the lunch break, and the Amber's side had not rested, and basically the question was, how much longer is she going to be on direct before we get to the cross exam? Is there a time limit? And the lawyer said no, that she has as much time as she needs. As she, it's not limitless, but there isn't an actual, like, I think what they've done is, I think that the judge has set aside a time frame for this trial in which evidence can be presented, right? And so now that I don't know what that time is, but I don't think. Yeah, I think what they did was, she said that the judge said that the trial can be 6 weeks, right? But remember, they took a week off. So that would mean that Johnny Depp's side has 3 weeks, and Amber Heard's side has 3 weeks. And if you think about it, Johnny Depp's side still has, they haven't used up the entire 3 weeks, because when we left on the Thursday before last, that was day 15 of the trial. So I would imagine that they're going to have that Johnny Depp, and the defense is thinking about it too, the rebuttal. So they still have time for rebuttal. So I think that Johnny Depp's team is going to spend their rebuttal on perhaps bringing in one of Amber Heard's former partners, perhaps. But they're definitely going to want to bring it back. Definitely going to have to bring it back to the the reason they're here, which is the Washington Post article, the op-ed. And oh, you're welcome, Karen. Okay. And yes, I only know that Rocky is not testifying. I don't know if it's final that Io is or is not testifying. But the truth of the matter is, you are 100% correct, Criminality. If they don't get Io on the stand, and I didn't mean to say her as in Io is her. I was going to say her friends, but if they do not get Io on the stand, this is going to be very, very difficult. But because they would be there, Io is the one that called 911. So therefore Io is a witness, and it's important that somebody testifies as to what they saw from her perspective, so it doesn't make sense. So yeah. Oh Lord, what a day. What's Friday, you guys? Yeah, see, there's a lot of problematic testimony, and I think that I really want to know why Amber and Rocky Pennington are no longer friends. Because So is the correct pronoun for Io her or him? Okay, thank you. Criminality, because I don't ever want to. I want to be respectful, and I don't want to use the wrong pronoun. So what did he lie about? Criminality. I'm curious about that. You want to come up? You got a minute? See, because this is why I like Teresa, because Teresa knows all the back things. And okay, let me give you the link. And I don't pay attention to the back things on this show because I only want to hear what the jury gets to hear. You know what I mean? Which is the purpose of this show, which is called Notes from the Jury Box. But Teresa does know all of these things. And I mean, technically, if we were like being really strict about it, she would be tainting the jury pool. But we're not gonna, we're not gonna get Teresa in trouble. We're not gonna let anybody know that's what's happened. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, yay, there's Teresa. Hi, babe.
Hi, you guys. I'm sorry, it's kind of loud. Kids are outside playing while I listen to you.
Oh, no worries.
Hold on, I'm still playing you in the background, so I got an echo. Hold on.
Oh, okay. Well, God knows we only want to hear us once. Me once. I'll hear you a couple of times.
I don't even know. I won't even go back and listen to anything that I say.
Neither do I. I hear people talk about, well, I went back and listened to what? You did what?
Ain't happening.
No, I don't do it either.
So, hi everybody in chat. I'm sorry, I did refer to Io as her, and that was I actually did not know that he had changed his pronouns to he and him until like recently, and I followed this for a long time. I thought it was more of a they, their, or a her still, but I missed it along the line, so it's kind of a habit, and I apologize, and I'm not trying to offend anybody. So Io in her written deposition, and I wish I could tell you the date, but I don't have it off the top of my head. It was either 2016, 2018. What, baby? No, stay there. I'll come right back. Said that he was in New York during the whole pooping incident.
Right.
He was not in New York. He was in California.
Right, because didn't he attend Coachella?
Attended Coachella, yeah. And so there's a big to do because back in the day when the depositions were being taken, he actually went through and deleted a lot of his information. Or I think it was I may be going opposite. He was in LA and said he was in New York, or he was in New York and said he was in LA. I wish I had that right in front of me now, but I don't have my laptop outside. So,
okay, say that back in the back.
Yeah, he's saying that he's in the opposite location of wherever he physically was at, and I'm almost positive he's saying he was in LA, and so he could actually testify to the fact that there was no feces on the bed, or that there was that it was a dog that did it, when in fact he wasn't in the area. That's why I said I'm gonna have to. I'll double check it, and I'll get you the exact. Info. So when you go live again, you'll be able to. You can actually go over if you want to. If you don't want to taint the jury.
Oh, thanks, babe. I don't care. That ship has done sailed with this case. But let me say this. This morning, Amber was talking about Io, and they had this big and about the poop. And it was this big to do, and Amber called Io while Johnny Depp was at the penthouse, but this was after Coachella that they met up.
So that was in May. Yeah. So so the Coachella incident is her birthday, which I believe is. You sure can, baby. Tell me whatever you want. You cannot even go out that far. You're considered in the gutter, and that's still part of the street. So no, back up here. So they went. So yeah, Amber Heard's birthday is the 21st, 22nd. And they went to Coachella the next day, and that's when the pooping incident was.
That's right. It was a month later. That's right. She said it was a month later.
Like the May 21st, which is when Io ended up calling the police from New York. So Vincent Smith here says he was in New York when he said he was in LA.
Right, but here's the problem.
He was in New York when he said he was in LA. Okay.
Here's the problem, though. So the whole purpose for Amber to call Io and to put him on speakerphone was to convince Johnny Depp that it was a dog, which means that if Io wasn't in LA and didn't go to Coachella and wasn't in that apartment or the penthouse prior to leaving to Coachella when the Grumpy took place, right?
Grumpy, yep.
Why would Io be basically an alibi for Amber? Because remember, Johnny Depp's security guard Sterling is the one that chaperoned these fools and their dogs, those poor dogs, to Coachella. So certainly Sterling would be, and Sterling is the one that testified too that he heard them that they were talking about it. So he had to have lied and said,
I think he said he was in LA when he was really in New York. He was in New York when he said he was in LA. Vincent says, yeah, okay. Yes, that's got to be it. So he's trying to say he was a witness and can prove that she didn't poop the bed, but yet he was actually not in LA at all.
Okay, but this is the part that I don't understand. Why would he do that if the person who alerted him to the Grumpy in the first place was his staff? So why would Amber use Io as an alibi witness if Io was not present? Does that make sense? Like, why would you have, knowing the resources? Look, she started off the conversation by saying that Johnny Depp had taken a sample of the Grumpy and had it analyzed for DNA. Okay. Now listen,
I hope there's somebody that testifies to actually being tested. That'd be hilarious.
If I had the resources to do that, I would do exactly what Johnny Depp did too. I'd be like, listen, girl,
Do you think he actually did it, or he just told her that he did it?
I don't know, but here's what it can be done. They can determine whether the fecal matter is human or animal. And it is a bodily fluid. So I would imagine that if they had a comparison, they could.
Well, I would think so too, but I'm just thinking that he probably didn't and was just telling her like, hey, we know it's human because we had it tested.
Right.
But Io was supposedly, and I don't know how accurate that is, but it was supposedly in love with Amber. So Io would lie for Amber because of that. And then you have Rocky.
But if Io is the one who's also on that same phone call after Johnny Depp throws the phone down, right? Amber takes the phone and she's talking to Io, and Io is saying, you are not safe. So Homeboy recognizes that Amber is in danger. So he thinks it's a good idea to go and lie. You see what I'm saying? There's a disconnect there.
Well, there's two separate occasions. So I think Io had already lied and trying to defend Amber to Johnny about the poop in April. And then the phone call where the 911 happens is in May. And
right, but
so
right,
I think
but he was already on the. I see. Continuity sakes, he kept the lie going. Okay,
because I don't think anybody thought it was going to come to a point now where there was going to be legal depositions and stuff involved or testimony.
Right.
That's why I don't believe Io will actually testify, because now he would have to take the stand and be questioned, and he would actually be committing perjury.
See, Vincent's missing here. I wish that you had been in here this morning, because the timeline of the phone calls to the cops don't make sense either.
Correct.
So
Take
the
over.
problem I'm having is this. The 911 call that I played, the person on the other end of the phone is saying that Amber called them. To my knowledge, the only person that Amber called was Io. How Rocky already lived at that building. Okay. So
Rocky was supposedly texting.
Right. So that's what the 911 caller said. So she said that they were going to send somebody over there. Okay. And I was wanting to hear what exactly the caller reported happened. And the reason I wanted to hear that is because that makes a difference in how quickly they send somebody out. Right. If the person who is the perpetrator, the alleged perpetrator, is no longer on premises, obviously they're going to be slower. But also what would change their response time would be domestic violence versus a domestic disturbance. And so what I'm curious about is how long after this incident occurred did they call the cops? Because Amber testified today that when she became aware of the police being called, she called her entertainment lawyer, who then referred her to, she said domestic something lawyer. I have to go back and listen to what she said. I rolled my eyes.
Like one of her entertainment people. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but they referred her to another attorney. So she called the other attorney, and that attorney is who advised her not to speak to the police, to tell them that under the advice of her attorney, she was not going to answer their questions. She was not going to be cooperative, period, point blank. But then conversely, and at the same time, all of the phone calls are happening. Amber is also in a full-blown motherfucking photo shoot. I hope your kids cannot hear me. I didn't think about that. I'm sorry.
They're over there. No, you're fine.
Okay. Because it makes no sense. Okay, I'm going to switch back out of my phone to the computer. Give me just 1 second, okay?
Oh, you're fine. Okay, so correct. Io's call and the second call were about 10 minutes apart. Yeah, Vincent's missing here. And then this is all by memory, so you can tell me if I'm off. But I'm almost positive the surveillance actually puts Johnny in the elevator at like 8:40. So the cops were called at like 9:09. That's why I said this is all off memory, so just bear with me. The second call came from inside the building. Now you just sound like a creepy person, like that. It's coming from inside the building. Which was Rocky. So then you have the two sets of cops that actually come out. And I think it's the second set of cops that actually say, do you know somebody in New York? Or was that the first set of cops? See, that's why I said I'm trying to do all this off memory without any information in front of me.
When Amber testified to that this morning, up until lunch, that wasn't discussed. I don't know if there was more about, because they were now onto makeup lessons a la Amber Heard and the bruise kit, which was a huge Freudian slip.
They had to try to correct that today with the testimony.
They did. Yeah, it was bad. Okay. So this is my question. And you're right. There were two sets of cops that came, but they were hours apart, if I'm not mistaken. The way that Amber testified to it today, there was the set of cops, the first set of cops, they're the ones that came in. They're the ones that she actually spoke to. In fact, the female officer is the one that took her aside and spoke to her. And she couldn't obviously testify to what the officer told her, but she did say that. Then there was, and they came inside and looked around. The second set, they came later, and she didn't even get off the couch. That's her own words, not mine.
Right.
And basically, she acknowledged that she knew that she was aware that they were there to them, right, to the cops, but she was not engaging in any type of conversation with them. But the way that they had it the way that she testified it, and the way the questions went, which I'm sure Camille is going to follow up on. She just barely scratched the surface today. It seems like there was like an hour or two apart between the two.
I think it was like an hour or so, because I remember I think the first one was a little after 9, and the other one showed up a little after 10. And the second set, the one with the body-worn cameras, did they go into Rocky's penthouse, or did they go into Amber's?
They were in penthouse. Yes, they were in Rocky's penthouse. But this is the thing that this is my struggle bus, okay, with this whole situation. Okay. So she is being told by the second attorney not to cooperate, yet they're documenting not only the damage in the apartment where the situation occurred, but also in Rocky's apartment, because Amber said that Johnny Depp saw her like jewelry display or whatever, and was upset about that.
That's penthouse 5. So that was technically an empty penthouse,
right?
That's the one that had Amber's closets and I think art stuff, and she was letting Rocky use as the bead place. Yeah,
right.
So
and Johnny was
Rocky
mad about that.
Lived in penthouse 3.
Okay.
No, Rocky lived in penthouse 3, 4, 5. She lived in penthouse 1. I had to visualize it in my head.
Okay. So this is where the disconnect comes from me. So Amber is saying that she called her attorney, and the attorney told her not to cooperate, right?
Correct.
But then she goes and she files a temporary restraining order, and then she also filed for divorce. And there were texts that were shown, and there's conversations, audio tape that they play, where Amber's parents are saying to Johnny Depp, Amber was told that she needed to do all of these things, the police, all of it. That was because of her attorney's advice.
Right, supposedly.
But then she testified today so what you're saying, you called the cops, and then they told you to call the cops, but they also told you not to cooperate with the investigation, which makes no sense to me. If you're not the aggressor in the situation, right? You are the victim. I can't imagine an attorney, especially if the person that is the alleged perpetrator is as high profile as Johnny Depp, you would want law enforcement to document that. That would only help you if you are the victim, right? I know normally attorneys tell you to STFU, but that's if you're there because they've sought you out, not because you called, right? So that doesn't make there's a disconnect there.
Well, you also have to think though that the 911 call from IO, he supposedly called because he could hear her upset, and he called immediately. So Johnny would have still been right there. Do you see what I'm saying? Because then supposedly Amber screaming like call 911 or whatever.
Which is weird, because that's not what she testified to today at all. In fact, I found her testimony to be highly irritating and confusing, because she's testifying to things because she's testifying to things that she is that you would only be able to testify to if you saw them. Yet she's saying that she's sitting there on the couch with her head in her hands and wasn't making eye contact. So
Correct.
How are you seeing things if, you know what I mean? And then it's weird because they showed photographs of the different penthouses, right? And all this quote unquote damage that Johnny Depp allegedly did. Teresa,
so here's the thing: in her original deposition, she talks about that the majority of the damage that he did is in penthouse 3, but she got called out for that, because then you could tell that the pictures that were submitted during her dismissal, when she was requesting to have the case dismissed, those photos of the damaged stuff is actually from penthouse 5, which is where the beads and stuff were. So she tried to say he did all of this stuff in penthouse 3, and that her and Rocky witnessed him going around and taking this magnum-sized bottle of wine,
right,
and smashing it everywhere.
Right.
But the majority of the damage is actually in penthouse 5, where none of them were. Well, they were technically there. Johnny kicked him out, and then he went around and broke shit in his own penthouse.
But none of the things look that broken. What it looks like is some stuff was knocked around. There's pictures like in frames
But that's
on
still
the
not
bed.
DV. She wasn't even there.
Well, right, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, it's such a huge disconnect. Like, you have your head up on your shoulders, and you're all butthurt about the fact that what he stacked some pictures on top of a bed, but you put a poop in his bed. I
Yeah,
mean,
he nicely stacks a bunch of pictures on the bed, and
all of it,
he's wrecked the place. You know,
all of it looks like. And by the way, he's taking this magnum-sized champagne bottle and smashing all the freaking things with it, and that champagne bottle is completely intact.
Well, and it's also not a Magnum.
Right, but it's completely freaking intact.
Yes.
You're using it as a baseball bat, and then she says it looks like a champagne bottle or a wine bottle that spilled. Where is the spill, Miss Ma'am? There's literally it's just an empty bottle on the floor.
Well, the spill is supposedly because he continued to smash things in the hallway as he left. And so you see the red stain on the carpet
Yeah,
on
but
the hallway.
but in the picture she's describing, you only see the bottle. So there is no spill, ma'am. You're supposed to testify what's in the picture, not what you think happened. Like, none of it makes sense. And then this whole I donated versus I pledged.
Oh, bullshit. I was so flipping irritated with her.
This is the part that this was, in my opinion, the best part, one of the best parts of the trial, because she's really trying to she's saying I use pledge and donates
synonymously.
Synonymously.
No, you don't. Those are two
no,
totally
you
different
don't.
things.
No, you don't. And neither does the charity, asshole. Okay. If I called up PBS right now because they're doing one of their little telethons that they do, and I pledged $150,000.
Hold on. What are you pledging to do? Let me just ask you that. What are you pledging to do?
Pay.
You're pledging to donate.
Correct. You're pledging to donate. But then you have to complete the action by the donating.
Correct. Yeah, I'm pledging to donate. Like, it's literally the whole part of the phrase.
I'm pledging a donation.
Because it goes together. You need both.
Exactly. You can't have one without the other. It's like you can't have peanut butter, ain't got no jelly. What's the matter with these people? It's just... Yes, Vincent's missing ear. Exactly. He tore the pictures off the wall and stacked them like the books in Ghostbusters. Nailed it. And and then the whole, well, that's perjury because she testified in the UK that she absolutely donated, right? She donated the entirety of her settlement. And then today she finally, after forever of this wrangling, she begrudgingly admitted that no, she hasn't donated a penny. So that's perjury right there. And I don't know how UK deals with that because I'm not familiar with her.
And then please tell me how she's trying to say that the $500,000 from Elon does not go towards it, yet in the accounting from the ACLU is actually counting the 500 towards her pledge.
Because she's a lying liar mouth who tells lies. And
you can't just tell me that you don't think the jury is buying any.
No, they're not. They're not. I was talking about this on Friday. When we did like a review, or Thursday or whenever the hell it was I did it. I don't even remember what day it was, but
sometime last week.
Sometime at some point. This has to happen because they have to discredit her, and they have to discredit her on multiple levels. It's not just enough to prove that she is a liar. It has to be a specific lie, the lie about the domestic abuse, because that's what's in the op-ed, right? And we figured out how they got the title from the one that was online. They took the second sentence of the first paragraph and they took the last sentence of the second paragraph and they put them together. And that's how they came up with the title. But it's not a direct quote, meaning that's not a quote from her, a direct quote. She didn't put those words together in that order. It is part of her statement, which is why the title doesn't have quotes around it, because it was not a direct quote. That's how they got that title. But the bottom line is that she they have to prove, Johnny's side has to prove that the domestic violence and the SV did not take place, that is a lie, because that is the fundamental key element in a defamation lawsuit. And then after they've proved that's a lie, they got to prove that because of that lie, he suffered a loss of income, which I think they've gotten. I think that they're there with that, with pirates and all of that stuff. So I think they've gotten to that part, but I think what's going to be less difficult now after cross-examination, is that Amber is a lying liar mouth that tells lies. If she had a photograph of her face of her nose without the makeup, she would have shown it. She would have produced it.
Well, and her lawyers cannot be happy that she's constantly up there trying to throw them under the bus. Like, why is she? Like, she's like, oh, nope, I gave him everything.
Because she cannot admit that it's a lie. See, in her way of thinking isn't that she's throwing her own attorneys under the bus. It's that she's done everything that she could possibly do, and it is what it is.
How about tell the truth?
Right, exactly. That would probably help. How about stop lying right now? And the thing is that I'm not saying that. Do I think that Johnny Depp has been overserved on many occasions? I do. But what I don't understand about her is that in her testimony this morning, one of the things that she said that really just like hit me wrong is that Amber had to be vigilant, hyper vigilant of Johnny Depp's behavior at all times, because depending on what substance he was on or what combination of substances he was on, the end result was always violence. But there was certain substances that he was on that made him more violent than others.
Right.
And she was talking about Thanksgiving and Marilyn Manson and them going to the bathroom repeatedly. And then, and she's watching all of this, right? And then he leaves and doesn't come back for a while, who knows how long, right? So rather than not give it any life and ignore it, what does she do? Inspector Gadget follows him and goes to confront him. So if you suspect that he is up to no damn good in ingesting some type of substance, which doesn't even really matter, because at the end of the day, all the substances result in violence, you think it's a good idea to confront him? That's what it doesn't make sense to me about her behavior.
Well, no, because she's absolutely confrontational.
Exactly.
Every time she's confronting him. Most abusers, if the abuser leaves, they're relieved. She's pissed.
It's like she only watched part of Sleeping with the Enemy, and then she watched enough. And she watched the beginning of Sleeping with the Enemy and she watched the ending of Enough, and that's her story.
Well, you notice how many times today, this is one thing I was paying attention to, how many times she says, just like all domestic, or all victims, or all persons who are abused, or
yes,
she constantly said it over and over again. Like, I'm like, how much research did you do on what you're supposed to do?
Right, Wikipedia.
Like, because you are repeating that quite a bit, just like everybody else does, just like all the other victims do, just like these do, all that does.
And the thing is that there are things that victims of domestic violence have in common. There are patterns of behavior that they have in common. There are things that they do that are, but people are, generally speaking, are individuals. And so, yes, they have a lot of things in common, but it's like when she was talking to Dr. Curry, and Dr. Curry gave her a list of 10 questions and she answered yes to 9 out of the 10. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like something about it was about PTSD. And this was my favorite part when she said today, I could hardly sleep. I would wake up with anxiety. Okay. In order for you to wake up, you got to be asleep first. Okay. So which is it? Are you
You
are
can't
you not
sleep?
are
You're
you
not
not
sleeping or you're waking
right?
up?
Not sleeping, lost a lot of weight and hair loss. Okay. Whatever Amber Heard. And then the other thing is this I found interesting too, and I you missed it because you weren't here when because I said it at the beginning. So they start showing the pictures from various like the Met Gala and Russia, and then the Don Rickles roast or whatever. And her dresses are sexy, they're classy, they're beautiful gowns what she's wearing, but they are definitely and shingles, what the fuck, how do you get isn't shingles already inside you if you've had the chicken pox?
It is.
Isn't
It comes out. It can come out with stress. So I think that's why she was going with that. She was so stressed that.
But wouldn't you have had to have chicken pox in order to have shingles? You don't get shingles if you've never had the chicken pox. And she's of the age where the vaccine would have been available. Oh, I guess I made Teresa mad. So, yeah. There's that. But anyway, her dresses were like, they were sexy. They were classy, but they were sexy. And I thought she said that Johnny Depp was he wanted her to dress up like a nun or something. But Paula, did you already have chicken pox? Thank you, Karen. I believe that you can get that shingles can be brought on by stress, but in order for you to shingles are a derivative of the chickenpox virus, the chickenpox. So if you've never had the chickenpox, then you cannot get well, come back. If you've never had the chickenpox, then you can't get the shingles. And I believe that she is of the age where the chickenpox vaccine was available, which I think the varicella vaccine, I think it does contain a little chickenpox. So maybe, I don't know. But don't you have to have, oh, my phone's on the charger. I can't even, let me look this up.
It is. It's from having chicken pox. Then you get the shingles virus that lives inside of you.
Yeah, because I remember
But I
Terry
don't know.
Bradshaw, the shingles
I
virus
had chicken
is
pox.
inside of
I'm
you.
42.
Me too.
She's 36, 38. What is she now?
36. My kids all had all right. Can you get
The YouTube lawyers are lining up to get in the court
if
again tomorrow.
you never
Vincent's missing here said something up here a little bit ago though that I wanted to talk about because I like literally paused and was like kind of cheering a little bit when Amber testified on direct. She said that the reason that she hadn't donated the entire $7 million to charity yet was because Johnny sued her, and obviously it put a delay on things. And then when Camille's up there and she points out that she had been given her entire divorce settlement almost a year prior to Johnny even filing the suit. But she's still
13 months.
She kept sticking with the story of, well, Johnny sued me.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like that, like, do you not even realize what you're saying? Like, you have to know that you just got caught in a lie, but she's still sticking with it.
Yes. She's one of those people, and this is what's irritating. I don't like, first of all, I'm not a fan of liars, just generally speaking. All right. But I will say, if somebody, I have a little more leniency for someone who lies, who when they lie and they get caught, then they confess and tell the truth. But there's something that is profoundly irritating to me about a liar who gets caught and then continues with the lie.
Yes. I'm like, at least say like, well, I don't recall or whatever. I don't know, man. It's like, it's absolutely ridiculous. Did she donate any of the money? Well, technically,
No.
she did, because the $100,000 that Johnny donated was part of her divorce settlement.
Right.
So,
but then she
and
came
you
out
notice how
publicly.
she tried to say 6.8 million. She kept
Yes.
trying to change it to 6.8 million because he'd already donated to the 200,000, and
Right.
she wasn't getting 7 million. She was getting 6.8 million.
Right. Exactly. Okay, so this is what the Googles has to say. Shingles and chickenpox are caused by the same virus, the varicella zoster virus. Because they're caused by the same virus, someone who has never had chickenpox can't get shingles if he or she were to come into contact with someone else that is infected with shingles. Now,
You have to look up, when was the chickenpox vaccine?
That's the next thing.
I had chickenpox twice. Once when I was 3 and once when I was 13.
The chickenpox vaccine became available in the United States in 1995. So
Okay.
she might not have been vaccinated. My kids were vaccinated. Okay, Amber, I'm going to let you have your shingles then. I don't believe you, though. I don't believe that she had shingles. Like, 'cause she just lied about everything.
Where's the medical documentation of that?
Exactly. Exactly. And here's the thing. Why did you wait until after you were no longer with Johnny Depp to go and see, hey, Nicole, to go and see an ENT? Why you didn't do it on his dime if he's the one that caused the injury, resulting in you needing to go see an ENT?
Well, and let's just discuss the fact that she says that her dad used to break horses and had her doing it as well. And she's been kicked in every place and stomped on and everything else.
And she heals faster than everybody. She's like Deadpool.
Yeah. So I'm understanding, like, so if the ENT says, yeah, you've had your nose broken in your life, for sure. There's no proof that had anything to do with Johnny.
No. But that, and then she's, then she talked about the Met Gala too, with the scars on her arms and on her feet and everything. And I will say, when Camille asked her about the R, Amber had a visceral reaction to that. It's like she isn't aware of what she was actually accusing Johnny Depp of until it came out of Camille's mouth.
Yeah, like, whoa, why you say it like that? That's not what I said.
But it is what you said, Pooja.
Right.
It's exactly what you said. It's criminal what you said. More than moral, it's criminal.
I guess that's the thing, is how does one go about proving that something like that didn't happen? This is where the big dilemma always falls for me. Is you can prove that she's most likely not being truthful, but can you prove that it didn't happen? You know what I mean? I could say whatever the hell I want to say. Like, that seems to be
difficult to prove a negative.
Say whatever the hell, right?
But I find it. Here's the thing. Amber Heard is not a Teresa and Jen. First of all, she's a liar, and a Teresa and Jen are not. Okay, but that aside, Amber Heard, because of who she was with, and not just because of Johnny Depp, to a large extent, just in general, because of being in Hollywood. Okay, Amber had access to resources that regular folks don't have, and she could have sought, she wouldn't have to go to the emergency room like you and I would have to do, right? She could have a
doctor right there. She had Dr. Kipper, who was already there.
Exactly. And
there's no record of any of that.
Exactly.
There's no record of any of that. And he was physically in the house with her, and the nurse was there. Nurse Debbie was there trying to sedate her because she was losing her ever-loving mind. If she had just been penetrated with a bottle, there's somebody who's going to recognize that.
Right. Exactly.
And they're all saying, and part of her other story is that he ripped off her nightgown.
Right.
But they're all saying she was fully, she was in her nightgown.
like there is, okay, you can sort of like put yourself together, right, enough to go and speak with somebody, right? But there's a you also can, but you would still look a little disheveled. You know what I mean? Like even if you put your clothes back on, like you changed out of the ripped nightgown and you put a nightgown that wasn't ripped over you, you know what I mean? You would still look disheveled. It's like those pictures from the melee in May, right?
There'd be blood everywhere.
Well, just not only that, but like they took the pictures and not one hair is out of place despite being snatched up by it. She said he picked her up by her hair. But
Right.
not one hair is out of place. So what, you brushed your hair before you took the pictures? Why? Because you knew they were going to be public?
Okay, and then you answer me this. Why does she take a photo of herself back in 2012, 2013 with the tiny bruise on the temple and the red cheek and has all these photos, but the worst thing happens, the worst event happens in Australia,
right?
And there's not a picture. Like, why is there no pictures of all these cuts and everything all over her whole body where she's dragged around all this broken glass and
Exactly.
no pictures.
Exactly. And then she said, the other thing she alleged today, this is the first time I've heard this, but maybe you guys have heard it before. She alleges that Johnny Depp burnt himself with the cigarette, and he did it quite frequently. Now, here's my problem with this. The problem with that is, obviously he does voice work, but by and large, Johnny Depp makes his money being on screen. Okay. His face is his money maker. Why would he do something intentionally to damage his own face? A scar from putting a cigarette out on your face is, makeup can hide it and whatever, but still there's the healing process. And correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't he, supposed to be in Australia also filming?
Yeah, he was filming Pirates 5.
Mm-hmm. So why would they're already having to bend over backwards and make all kinds of concessions and edits and CGI and everything that wasn't part of the original plan because of the finger injury. And then the whole, they're my crickets, Christine, because I'm outside. But why, so he would, none of it makes sense. It's just none of it makes logical sense. And what, I'm not saying that things like this don't or can't happen, right? But they don't. It could not have happened the way she's saying that they happened because they make no sense. It's like she starts out off on the couch and then and then somehow or another she ends up on the floor looking at dirty carpet, but has no memory, but yet can remember on Thanksgiving that he picked up an antique decanter that weighs a ton and he chunked it at her and it missed her and it hit some artwork behind her on the bed, above the bed, that she really loved. Like, there's weird details that she can remember, but she can't remember if she was pushed or thrown.
No, but she remembers the window looked like as she gazed out of it in just disbelief over everything that had happened.
Yeah, and I remember the duvet cover. It was white with pink roses. Like, what? Who remembers that shit? And I was talking about, you'll know this case, I think, Teresa. It's about that case. It's that case where that man kidnapped this girl when she was 12 or 13. And he did it by befriending the dad and saying that he was going to take her to a writing convention. And then all of that happened, and he had her for, I don't know, a few months, like 6 months or something like that. She's been on Oprah.
Elizabeth Smart?
No, not Elizabeth Smart.
That's from contracting work.
I'll look it up. I'll look it up later. But the bottom line is, I remember her interview. And what was interesting to me is that there were a lot of details that she couldn't remember. She couldn't remember everything that had happened to her. But what she could remember and what stayed with her even now as an adult, and she's gone on to be married and have children. She cannot stand the smell of coffee because he drank coffee and he smelled like coffee when he would assault her.
That is one thing you notice, that when people are recollecting things, they actually often talk about the smell and not the sight.
Or a sound. They could hear this constant sound. For me, it would be like right now, everybody's hearing the crickets, right? So if something traumatic was happening to you right now, you would remember the crickets before you would remember anything else. And that's the way the mind works. And I think it's weird that she remembers artwork and that she remembers the decanter, weird details that don't make sense. That's the problem I'm having with her. It's that it doesn't, it's possible, but the way that she is saying is not plausible. It didn't happen the way, the events did not occur the way that she is saying that they occurred, because it doesn't make logical sense. It's just weird.
Well, who's excited to watch tomorrow?
Me. I'll be streaming at 9 a.m.
Are you going to? Okay.
Oh, yes. I did today, too.
Do you stop and do commentary, or do you only talk like during the breaks?
Oh, God, no. I have outbursts the whole time.
Okay.
I can't help it. I try to be quiet, and then she'll say something like completely redonkulous, and I have to. I will say this. I did interrupt, and then I interrupted to tell everybody I was muting myself because I couldn't handle it. But before I did that, I paused, so I wasn't talking over, because I was just so enraged by the story that she was telling about this lawyer.
Oh, about the lawyer that she called, and that lawyer is the one who called the other lawyer? That one?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Rhodey Gal. I appreciate that. She said, Jen Lou, your coverage is hands down my favorite. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I can't help it. I have a very low tolerance for bullshit on a good day. Amber has exceeded the day she took the stand the first day, she already passed up. I have no more limit for her. She exceeded my bullshit limit. I can't.
I'll tell you, the first part of today, when she was still on direct, I was struggling. I was struggling to listen to her. I was struggling to pay attention. And I just had to keep reminding myself, I'm like, you need to hear what she says. You need to hear what she says. But I literally was struggling. Like, I was at the point where I was like, okay, I think I could fast forward and not care what I missed, because I was so irritated.
Yes.
The youngest had a doctor's appointment, so I was way behind today. So it took me a while to catch up. But I was just like, I'm so over listening to this bullshit. It's constant bullshit. And the only positive that she did in my eyes today was she was not as over dramatic, and somebody had to have talked her out of that.
Yes. And the thing is, the thing that's irritating to me is that she took all of these pictures, but not of the most detrimental, the worst case scenario. Not that I'm saying that I'm like, if what you were saying were true, all the allegations that she made, if they were all true, it's all bad. But she would have sustained the worst injuries.
And it's not like she didn't take any pictures, because she did. She took pictures of the mirror. That was the worst thing to her, was the mirror.
Yes, and
I still think she took the damn picture because she wrote on the mirror and was worried the housekeeper was going to have it clean, and he wasn't going to get to say her. He wasn't going to get to see her, perfect response in red lipstick.
Exactly.
So she made sure to photograph it so she could show him, like, yeah, this is what I think about what you said.
Exactly. And the other thing is with her testimony today about the reason why she took the pictures of Johnny Depp. Okay.
Oh yeah, I wanted to get him help. I wanted to get him help. I wanted to support him. And no, you sent him to Rocky and made fun of him. That's awesome.
Exactly. That's exactly what you did. And that's not helpful on any level. I don't care. And the truth and the thing that's the most irritating about it is that it would be, you could almost excuse it if as lack of knowledge, right? Lack of experience. You don't know what you don't know. So can't really get mad about that. But she did. She watched her father.
Right.
So on some level, she has some experience dealing with these addictions. And it's one thing to have taken those pictures and to have kept them private to show later. Okay. That I can somewhat, I can understand the rationale behind that. Is it
Oh, like
something
her first reason where she was like, he says he doesn't pass out like that because when he
correct?
wakes up, he's in his pajamas in bed. Yeah,
Right.
I can see that. Why send
Right.
them to Rocky?
Correct. That's the part that gets to me. And also that the other picture of him with the ice cream. It's evident that it to me it makes no difference whether he is asleep or passed out on the nod, as he says, right? Because you can tell in that picture his hand is in his pocket, which means that he was not on the nod and eating ice cream and
Right.
then spilt the ice cream.
No,
That
she set
is
it up.
exactly, she said it. And the cocaine picture, I have a problem with that cocaine picture, and I have a problem with her explanation as to, let me just say this. That table is entirely too clean to be used for the purposes which she says it was being used for.
But even if it was used for that, one, where's Johnny?
Right.
He just left 4 brand new lines of Coke and didn't do anything with it.
Right.
And his
Exactly.
full glass of whiskey and what? Just went to bed? And you took a picture? That doesn't make any sense. And it's supposedly like her morning is what she says. So so he never did any line off of it and it's
he never
perfectly clean underneath? Bullshit.
He never did a line. There's no look at that table. That, first of all, glass tables are incredibly difficult to keep clean under the best of circumstances. Okay. But you're talking about somebody who's doing lines of cocaine. And I have to say that I agree with Amber when she says it is a well-known fact that Johnny Depp is a heavy smoker. I can't think I've seen him more with a cigarette in his hand or in his mouth than I've seen him without.
Yep.
When, like, paparazzi's taking pictures of him,
Yep.
obviously.
Yep.
Yet he had a cigarette that was rolled but not smoked. There's no ashes in the ashtray.
It's almost like she took the picture like, hey, Johnny, I'm ready for you to come home. Like, I got all your stuff ready.
Exactly.
Yeah. I just,
it
was her
looks
license in the
staged.
picture? Was it really?
It was her what?
It was her photo ID. It was her license that was in the picture.
Yes.
I thought it was the back of a license, so I didn't even pay attention to whose it was.
It was hers, allegedly. I don't know. I don't know where that, I believe Vincent, but I forget why Vincent knows that.
Oh, I'm sure that he probably zoomed in on it, took a look at it.
Probably.
But I didn't. I didn't even think. I saw the back of it and I was like, oh, okay, whatever. I didn't even think about it. That's actually a great point. But to me, it looks like it doesn't look staged to like set him up. I think it was used later to set him up. It looks to me, and I would be very curious, phone records wise, if it's a picture, a photo she sent to him, like, like or that's how it was, like for when he woke up. Because it's got his drink, it's got his cigarette already rolled, it's got the lines ready to go.
Because think about it.
It's got her tea, it's got her purse, it's got music, it's got, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's like it goes along with that whole she'd take his boots off and get him his glass of wine. And
exactly. It's like, it's like a wife who takes or a girlfriend who takes a picture of, she's made a nice romantic dinner, right? And she takes a picture and she sends it to her husband to show, I'm waiting for you to come home. That's what it looks like.
That's how I look at that photo, because it has a little bit of both of their stuff. Like it's ready for them to enjoy together versus like staged just for him. Because why does it have her stuff that it's like? And then I love how she totally throws her sister under the bus about the tampon. I was like, wait, if you're my sister, I'd be like, bitch, what the hell is wrong with you?
The thing is, that was the most credible part of her story, because that is a girl thing to do. Because think about it.
Why
right?
didn't she teach him that? Her sister taught him that? Come on.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I think I think her sister taught her that. Because if you think about it, if you're just logical, right? If you're a female And what's more out of place in your purse, a tampon or a cut straw? If
A
you
cut
get
straw.
stopped and a cop is going through your purse, you think he's going to give a second glance to a tampon? No, but he will be paying attention, or she will be paying attention to a damn straw.
Right. Well, that's drug paraphernalia.
Correct. So that's a female thing. So that part of her story, as far as her sister being the person who taught, yeah, I do think she taught somebody. She taught Amber, not or Amber taught her. One
Yeah,
way,
Amber's
but
the
it's
big sister
definitely
who's like
from a female.
protecting her younger sister. So you think that her sister's over there just doing coke with Johnny, and Amber's like, oh, this is totally okay, and I don't do coke.
Right. Exactly. Like what she's saying doesn't make sense. And if you think about the time period in which that photo was taken, this would have been the honeymoon phase of a relationship. This is when it was they weren't public yet. They were kind of just the two of them. It was, a big secret and nobody knew about it and yada yada yada, right? So that it would make more sense that it wasn't an issue for her than it was.
Yeah, her sister taught a seasoned man how to snort.
Correct.
I don't even know why that was like a necessary thing to even throw out there. You know what I mean? Like why should it throw her sister under the bus? It's like she literally will throw anybody under the bus so that she has no responsibility of any of it. And I like, what did Camille say to her today? Or Amber was like, I think that you're she basically called her uneducated about it.
Yeah.
That's not the words that she said.
She said,
like, well, you've done it, right? Like, this is, you know how it goes.
She says, I don't think that you understand how that works.
Yeah. All snotty. Like, I don't think you understand how that works. Yeah. And then Camille's like, well, but you do, because you've done coke.
She said, well, I want to know if you know how it works. Something to that effect was her retort. See, and the reason I like that they used Camille is twofold. One, she's incredibly intelligent. Okay. But had they used a male, had it been Ben,
it would not go over well. No,
it would not, because the way the jury would perceive it is that a man was browbeating a woman, and Amber would have gotten away with, I'm demure, I'm passive, but when I just cannot get past how Camille was able to elicit and trigger an anger response from her with the use of the word victim, and how Amber was able to not control herself. She lost it just for that instant. And had there not been her lawyer objecting and being rude, I think that moment would have continued. It was the lawyer interrupting that caused her to take a second. I think otherwise she would have been lashed out a little longer.
Didn't you find it weird that that's the thing that made her explode? Why did that piss her off? She says she's not a victim. She doesn't want to be looked at like a victim. But then she literally, the op-ed is talking about how she was a victim and how she overcomes being a victim.
Correct.
Like, I'm so confused.
She was more incensed about being called a victim than being called a liar.
Right. Because she's not a victim.
But if you notice, this is what's interesting to me. Because when she is giving testimony about the fights between she and Johnny Depp, and she's making all of the allegations that she's making, every time she finishes talking about a situation of physical violence, she punctuates it by saying it didn't hurt. It didn't physically hurt. It's the weirdest thing I've ever heard. Amber, if somebody socked you in the face, I don't give a rat's fat kneecap who it was. All right. If you were punched hard enough in your nose as to cause it to bleed, because you can be hit in the nose and it can bleed and it not be broken, right? It does hurt. Period.
Yeah.
If somebody checks you across the jaw, like she said Johnny Depp did, that hurts. And nobody would think less of you if you admitted that there was physical pain that came with it. But she is adamant about that's her punctuation. Most of us would put a period. No, Amber's punctuation is it didn't physically hurt. I wasn't in physical pain.
It didn't hurt me. It didn't hurt me.
Exactly.
You know, that's not, or how that's swelling. That's just not how it works with me.
Correct. And then conversely, when Johnny Depp is on audio recording and they're having this disagreement about whether it's a slap or a punch, and she's calling him a big baby, it's so odd to me. It's like she's trying to trade licks, right? And yet, and whoever flinches first is the loser. And he flinched by saying it hurt, right? Or even just saying that it was a punch, any of it. And so somehow or another, he's weaker than she is. And but simultaneously, he is 2 times bigger than she is, which is also a lie. She is not. Yeah. He is not 2 times her size. In fact, if I were to really guess, I think he may have about 15 or 20 pounds on her and maybe an inch, but that's it.
Well, I think he's probably, I mean, she was supposedly 115, 120 when they were together.
Right.
So, and he's probably he's probably what? I mean, sure, we could probably actually look it up. I wonder if I can Google it and not get kicked off the stream.
Here's the thing. I have Googled it before. And the truth
he's not twice her size. He's not 230 pounds.
No, he's not. And he's not twice her height either. But his height is different, is reported differently depending on where you look. Johnny Depp is somewhere between the 5'7" and 5'10" range.
Yeah,
I would say
that makes sense.
I would say that maybe 165.
Yeah. And Vincent's missing here, Camille she was methodical. She was surgical. I was thinking when she was just, objecting and she was on point with so many things and so quick. Mm-hmm. I was like, this woman is going to have some job offers. They better give her a raise, because I'm telling you right now that there are going to be big firms that are looking at her, and she's going to have a big career.
She not only should get a raise, she needs to make partner. They need to snap her up.
Absolutely on the ball, and she's just, I just love watching her. She's sitting there. You can see her hearing, if that makes any sense. You can see her listening, and you can tell as she's processing every single word that comes out of these people's mouths.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. No, it was perfection. She's very good, and she's not that old.
No, she's not.
And got a very big career ahead of her, I believe.
Yes, she does. And the other thing that I was thinking about today that I told everybody at the beginning of the stream, but I want to tell you and get your thoughts on it. So there's been a lot of scuttlebutt across various social media platforms about this situation between Johnny Depp and Camille. And today, for some reason, it just hit me. What if the gestures, her hand on his arm, or when she talks to him, she touches him, he pulls her chair out, all those things. What if that was done intentionally for Amber Heard's benefit?
Oh, absolutely.
So that and the reason I think this is because the first question out of the gate that Camille led with was, he hasn't looked at you one time during this trial, which tells me that the only way you would know that, Camille, is if you were watching her, which is exactly what you should be doing. You get points for that. You do not lose points, but you were watching her. And Amber has a very clear pattern of where her eyes go. They start with the judge, they go to Johnny, they go to the jury, they go back to Johnny, back to the jury, and then back to the judge sometimes. But even before she looks at the jury, she almost always looks at Johnny Depp, and he is never looking at her. And I think that it's interesting to me that she led with that. And I think that having her be the one that questions Amber on cross, given the fact that she's been watching, which means that she saw the little arm gestures, the effect, affectionate, something I'm not. I mean, I can be affectionate, but never in public. So, but she's overt about it. And there's been a lot of talk on different social media platforms about it. It's not, Amber has to be aware of it.
Oh yeah.
And I think that putting this in, not only, I mean, Camille is an incredibly intelligent, quick, well-prepared attorney. She is already doing a fantastic job. And if Elaine could either take a nap and grab a muffin, I'm sure Dr. Curry has some in her bag, something. But she is objecting for the wrong things at the wrong time and spending a lot of time arguing minutia that is not coming across as effective to the jury. And that's who it count. That's what matters. It's what the jury perceives, and they're the fact finders.
Right. And if you see, like, Camille is somewhat like testifying in her questioning.
She is.
Like, she's telling a very clear story. And Amber's story is not clear. Correct. And I think that and it's going to be, a battle of the women when it comes to that. And then I cannot, her attorney does not, she does not go well, or she's not perceived well. No, she's kind of whiny. She's kind of like, what, that's up here, like she doesn't seem like an attorney who's been doing this for all these years and very educated. And she just seems like she keeps getting like all pissy, like I'm not getting my way. She
doesn't seem like she has trial experience.
Very strange, right? When she's gotten plenty of it.
It seems like it's her responses to an objection are what baffle me. I don't think that's hearsay. Right. We get that, which is why you asked the question in the way that you asked the question. Now you have to tell the judge why it's not hearsay. Not just because you don't think so. There's no case law that I can cite that says Elaine doesn't think so.
I am surprised with the amount of hearsay on somebody's own statement.
Okay, so what I've learned is that when it comes to somebody's own statement, it depends on what their statement is. If it is a statement of something that they observed or they felt, they can talk about it. But if it goes to the fact of the matter, they cannot. That's the part I'm not quite sure exactly about, like which parts are the facts of the matter. Maybe if I went to law school, hey, y'all, I'm going to start a PayPal pool for me to go to law school so I can explain all this stuff for y'all, because this is important things that we need to know. And
but I mean,
I want to be a full service channel.
I still, the hearsay for her own statements is still relatively odd to me.
It's weird that she can say what Johnny said, but not what she said.
But yeah, that's the specific part that I'm not really getting. Is like, so she can say that because that's what she heard. So like, and Johnny, it was the same. It's like, Johnny could say what she said, but can't. I don't know. It's just such a weird.
It is weird.
I was standing there. I'm the one who said it. I can't tell you what I said.
But I can tell you what the other person said. Right.
And it makes it, I mean, in fairness, it makes it very hard to tell the story, because then how the responses mean nothing.
Exactly.
If I say this to you and then you respond to me and I can only say what you said, there's zero context.
Right. I'm going to tell you this whole series of events that happened between Teresa and I, but I'm not going to tell you anything that I said or did. I'm only going to tell you what Teresa said or did. And then you have to wait. And then Teresa, it's weird because instead of testifying to what you did, you are testifying to what the other person did. So then you would have to get up on the stand and testify to what I said and did.
Yeah, that's very confusing to me.
Isn't it though?
The hearsay rules are somewhat complicated. That's the one that gets me. I totally get everything. I totally get everything else, but why I can't say what I said is making no sense. Like, I said it. It's mine. I said it. But I can, if I wrote it in a text, and that's the other part. So then in a text message, because it's documented, if I said it in the message, then it's not hearsay because I typed it and that's exactly what it says.
Correct.
I need to take some civil law classes because I don't know if that's any different, but I've never heard anything like this. And I've watched a lot of trials. I just have never been so
I
far into
think
civil
it
stuff.
is different between civil because it's the opposite
Night,
in a
Paula.
criminal trial. Good night, Paula. If in a criminal trial, you can say what you said, but you can't tell what the other person told you. Because I remember this very distinctly when Vicky Hutchison testified, and she could not testify to what Jesse told her, but she could testify to what she told Jesse. So I think it's backwards. So in a criminal trial, you can say what you said, but not what the other person said.
But she can't say what the therapist said.
No.
But she could say what Johnny said.
So I think that she also can't tell what lawyers told her, because I think it depends on maybe because lawyers and doctors have a client attorney privilege, and also doctors have the patient confidentiality. So maybe that's why. I don't know. This is very new to me, and I'm just figuring it out as I go along. And bless
you figure that one out. Let me know, because that's the one that's touching me.
Because Johnny says he understands it now. He
yeah,
doesn't.
Well, maybe Johnny can write something to me.
Let
me
me.
know.
Yeah. Let me ask Johnny.
Okay. Get a hold of Johnny. Let us know.
I know you're not allowed to discuss anything, Johnny. After the trial, though, call me.
Call Jen.
I just want you to explain hearsay to me. That's all I'm interested in.
Because I'm still super confused on it.
Right. I don't. Yeah, it's messed up and makes no sense.
Okay, and I have another question I want to see if you know the answer to.
Okay.
So obviously they're timed, right? They have each side has a set amount of time.
Right.
Do the sidebars count as their time, or is the clock on hold?
I think it's like football, and whenever there's a challenge to a call on the field, the clock stops.
That's what I was wondering, because is there somebody who's actually sitting there saying who's requesting the sidebar, and does it go against that you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, who's keeping that score?
Right. I'm like, that seems really complicated. Vincent's missing here says, yes, because you are quoting a third party, and without them giving the direct testimony, it's hearsay. Yeah, yes, but you're allowed to. She's allowed to say what Johnny said, and he's a third party, or is he a second party because it's between the two of them? You see,
it must. Okay, so here's the thing.
I need like
I think I understand what Vincent. I think
okay.
I understand what Vincent is saying. So, if the person that the conversation was between is not a witness or has not yet testified, you can't talk about it because they're not there. Is that what that means?
No, because you can't say what the doctors who did evaluate her testified to.
Because they haven't testified. Thank you, Karen. I don't know.
What? Okay, so Vincent's missing here. Why can't she say what she said?
Okay, Vincent said yes. So this must mean, in order for her to talk about what she said with her therapist must testify prior to her.
But what about the doctors who testified, like Dr. Kipper?
Yeah, well,
that person's already testified.
Yeah, but Dr. Kipper testified with respect some things there. I don't think he ever actually treated Amber, because the testimony he gave about Amber was mainly about her behavior as it related to the detox situation.
But he was her doctor.
Well, but I didn't say he wasn't her doctor. I said he didn't treat her. Because even when she went in to see if she needed some type of scan or something, she didn't see Dr. Kipper. She met with somebody else. And it seems to me that she had more dealings with Dr. Kipper's nurse, one of the nurses, than she actually did with Dr. Kipper himself. And this is another interesting point that Sugar Beet brings up. Technically, see, this is a different kind of case, right? So in a criminal trial, you have the prosecutor and you have the defense, right? That's it. However, this is a very good point. Let me highlight this really quick. In this specific situation, technically, although Johnny Depp is the petitioner and Amber Heard would be the respondent, she is also countersuing. So in essence, she is, if the jury finds for her, right, they're also going to give, they could also potentially be giving her an award of money. The same way with Johnny Depp. If they find for Johnny Depp, then he is awarded a settlement, right? So in a weird way, they're sort of both co-plaintiffs. They're just suing each other.
Right.
So maybe that's why we're not understanding why the different rules of hearsay, because they're different in this situation. A, because it's a civil trial, and B, because there's a countersuit.
Well, as long as Johnny understands it.
He's the one that has to. It's his trial, bless his little heart. And he's just over there just drawing away.
I know. I really want to see I want to see his doodles like up close.
Well, they showed one.
I can tell their faces, but I want to know, like, I want to be able to tell who it is. Like, who is he drawing?
Yeah. He's actually quite good at drawing. He's really a good little artist. Very.
All right, I have to hop off because I got a girl coming from gymnastics.
Okay, babe. I'm going to end the stream anyway.
Thank you guys so much, too. And then hopefully I can hop on tomorrow while you're actually doing the trial.
Okay, I will be on for the first part of the trial until they break for lunch. And then I take a break. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds good too.
All right. Thanks, babe.
I'll talk to you guys later. Bye, everybody. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Bye. All right, you guys. It's been 3.5 hours. I've enjoyed every single minute with you. Thank you all for being here so much. Thank you to the mods. Always. Thank you for the super chats. I appreciate them. Thank you for listening and your great questions and commentary. And I will see you guys at 9 a.m. sharp, because court resumes at 9 a.m. They done sped up. They haven't added an hour. So I will be here bright and early at 9 a.m. and I will see you guys then. Good night. Y'all take care. Behave out on these YouTube streets. All right. Bye.